Nelson Mandela was once a baby before he grew to become the first black president of the Republic of South Africa. Barack Obama was once a baby before he also grew to become the first black president of the United States of America. Our own Afe Babalola was also once a baby. Now he's an adult, practicing law for 60 years and still counting. Well, it was not always a bed of roses for him, as you will soon find out in our play. His story is that of grass to break, willpower, hard work, ingenuity, and iconoclasm. Our story takes us way back to when Afe Babalola was a teenager at Oloti Ogubiyi's courtyard. Ajayi, Mama Afe, Mama Dada, she's a very hardworking woman. She's very strong, agile, and also expert in many micro businesses. Atele oni de toni je o, atele oni de toni je, atele oni de toni je o, atele oni de toni je. Abare logun eru, oníwọ pa ọkọ. Osokoto bi to bàbá rẹ̀, yèyé lọ́jà ní yèyé rẹ̀, atele oni de toni je. Ìyìn lélẹ̀ ìkúnlẹ̀ àdéhùrè, kúwọ́ bá bójú lógún, wà á tẹ́tí kúrúkúdú. Àtẹ̀lẹ̀ òní dè ìtọ́ni jẹ́, àtẹ̀lẹ̀ òní dè ìtọ́ni jẹ́ o, àtẹ̀lẹ̀ òní dè ìtọ́ni jẹ́, àtẹ̀lẹ̀ òní dè ìtọ́ni jẹ́ o, àtẹ̀lẹ̀ òní dè ìtọ́ni jẹ́.
Welcome, sir.
Afe, my boy.
Welcome, sir.
Báwo ni?
Fine, sir.
Are you the only one at home?
Yes, sir, I am.
Papa must be in the farm. But where is mother?
Sir, she's quite nearby farm. Get some things for tomorrow.
Oh, that's true. Tomorrow is market day. I am sure you made all this.
Yes, sir.
Beautiful. I really love this. These are aesthetic craft work. It really shows you have an artistic talent in you.
And she, sir.
Ọmọ tó ní gudugudu méje yàyà mẹ́fà. I am proud of you.
Thank you, sir.
You know, with all this, you are sure to win glory that will amaze everyone. But wait a minute. I will propose to the headmaster, because of the great potential that you have seen in you, that you become children for craft making.
Me? And she, sir. I thank you for all you have been doing, sir.
You deserve it, my boy. You will not come. Just know I will surely believe you with one of these. I actually want to use the expensive basket in my house. You can't be keeping my money else anyhow. You know?
Yes, sir.
You know.
And
But let's take that aside. I have come to inform the parents and to also let you know that you should start studying hard because you'll be representing our school in a provincial examination at Local January.
sir, look, I thank you for all you have been doing, sir. Sir, may God work for all your efforts.
Oh, don't worry, my boy. Your success is my pride. You know, you really deserve this. Study hard for the coming examination, okay?
I will.
My basket. And extend my greetings to Dad. Don't forget, carry life.
And she, sir. Bye-bye, sir. Give me local job. Your success is my pride, boy. study hard for the coming exam because you'll be representing our school in the provincial examination at January.
Will we be able to move from this?
My children, I want to tell you a story, but before then, we're going to sing a song. When I sing, around, you respond by saying, in number, te, regute, in number. What did I say? That's good. Around. Kí ló wá ṣe nílẹ̀ yìí o? Ẹ̀hún ni mo wá dá o. Èló lẹ mú rẹ o? Àgbẹ̀ kan ẹ bá yín. Bẹ́ẹ̀ mú sílẹ̀ kó máa lọ o. That's good. Now, in those days, inhabitants of the heavens and planet Earth interacted with each other. Yes. As a matter of fact, this folk tale tells a story about a mystic palm wine tapper who is not visible to the client. Yes. He comes, taps, and sells palm wine to the people on planet Earth. Back then, way back then, buying and selling was purely on trust. You can come, keep your wares at the crossroads, come back later, and take your money. Yes, of course, just like that. And that is why we say, around, kí ló wá ṣe nílẹ̀ yìí o? Ẹ̀hún ni mo wá dá o. Èló lẹ mú rẹ o? Àgbẹ̀ kan ẹ bá yín. yourselves.
Mr. Ladeloku,
Yes, sir.
who is that young man?
He's my cousin from Adosa.
What is his work?
Well, he's currently looking for an employment. He was a teacher at Emmanuel School.
All right, call him in.
Yes, sir.
That's good, my children. You can go now. Bye. With mommy and daddy for me. Good afternoon, sir.
How are you, young man?
I'm fine, thank you, sir.
Will you like to be a teacher here?
Ah, yes, sir. I've been looking for a job for a long time, sir.
And you have found yourself a job.
Eh?
I said, you have found yourself a job.
Hey! Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir.
Here, Inspector. I have found this young man and discovered that he is a born teacher. So, I want him.
Orí lórí rẹ̀ àwẹ̀ o. Orí lórí rẹ̀ o àfẹ́. Orí lórí rẹ̀ àwẹ̀ o. Oníbàáwí àṣubú bòròbòrò rétérété. Orí lórí rẹ̀ àwẹ̀ o. Oníbàáwí àṣubú bòròbòrò rétérété. Orí lórí rẹ̀ àwẹ̀ o. Orí lórí rẹ̀ o àfẹ́. Orí lórí rẹ̀ àwẹ̀ o. Orí lórí rẹ̀ o àfẹ́. Orí lórí rẹ̀ àwẹ̀ o. Oníbàáwí àṣubú bòròbòrò rétérété. Orí lórí rẹ̀ àwẹ̀ o. Oníbàáwí àṣubú bòròbòrò rétérété. Orí lórí rẹ̀ àwẹ̀ o.
He prays most, who works hardest.
Full happiness can only be achieved when one makes others happy.
Time is life. Life is time. Time does not wait for anyone. Lost time is irretrievable.
It is not an offense under our laws to remain idle, but it is a sin to be indolent.
The establishment of upward is an act of God, predicated on faith that is achievable. Faith breeds determination, determination breeds success, and faith never fails.
Ideas rule the world, but only those who translate ideas into reality make the difference.
Your most reliable friend and companion are your two hands.
The best response to a fool is complete silence.
Do not leave till tomorrow. The work fixed for today.
Always dress well. Good dressing determines the appropriate type of welcome you will receive.
When you already know that a person is lying to you, need
Well, I don't know what you are clapping for. But whatever it is, let us clap together for the celebrant of today. Let me thank God for this day. A day that God Himself has chosen to celebrate an icon. And when you have an icon as a friend, as I do have, you get orders and you obey orders. Are Afe Babalola called me and said, there will be the celebration of my 60th year at the bar. And you have to be there. I say, yes, sir. And you have a role to play. I say, yes, sir. I was expecting to hear what the role is. And I won't tell you what the role is. I say, yes, sir. Then I traveled. And my travel turned out to be on the day, which is today, that the celebration should be taking place. I should be in Edinburgh, in Scotland. When I have obeyed the order of my friend, my brother, my confidant, my icon, then what do? I went to Scotland, of course, and when they said to me, we will be having the closing session of our conference this morning, I said, no, I have order to obey, and I have to leave yesterday morning. Not knowing that I will be called upon to make a statement, I wrote a tribute. And I said a little bit of what I thought I know about Are Afe Babalola. But the play we have seen this morning, which actually let us into the secret or part of the secret of his success, was very illuminating and very enlightening. I'm sitting by his side. I was commenting. I like where he was studying and he had to put water in a bucket and put his feet on it in the water so that he may not sleep. And I said, Are, I did that, but my feet, when I slept, pour the water and the calabash out and everything spilled on the floor. So putting feet in water did not help me much. Did it help you? I think it helped Areafe Babalola. That's part of why he is what he is today. I believe the lesson from that is also captured in some of his unforgettable sayings. Hard work leads to success. You can choose to be lazy. There's no law against that. But if you are indolent, it is a sin. And of course, unless you seek for forgiveness, any sin is punishable by God, not even by earthly government. I have come to know and learn a lot from Areafe Babalola. He's a man you must never take for granted. If you do, you are on your own. That I will say to you. He's a serious-minded man. And if you don't know that, you don't know anything. If he's laughing with you, and it's humorous, a little bit. But when you hit him on the wrong side, you will see the other side of his eyes, as I saw this morning, because I came late. And immediately said to me, "Where have you been?" I said, "Are, I was in a little bit early, but Are called, Bishop called. Which one will you answer? If you don't answer the bishop, he may report you to God. If you refuse to answer Are, then you are on your own." So I came early enough, and I even sent a message that Bishop Kuka is expecting me for breakfast. And I thought, if I do not go to Bishop Kuka for breakfast, not only will his breakfast be wasted, he may report me to God. Of course, Bishop Kuka I know very well. I've always told him that I will enter the kingdom of God before him. And he has also always told me that it's because of people like me that he has become a bishop, so that you can enter the kingdom of God. As my brothers and sisters in Cross River and Akwa Ibom say, 60 years is no yoke. 60 years is no yoke. And I join everybody, members of the family, friends, and colleagues, and well-wishers to congratulate you on this very important mileage in your career and in your life. Those who have worked with you, whether as colleagues, as clients, and in what other areas we have worked with you, we know your work. And for me, I could not have had a lawyer to handle my intricate cases as you handle them. On this occasion, again, I thank you for a job well done. When after election and elections, I have to be taken to court to prove that the decision of the electoral umpire was a fair and right decision. That's not all. When this is the one. When, all right, as president of this country, I gave you the task of managing the affairs as the chairman of council of Lagos University. You perform so eminently that you became the best chairman of council, pro-chancellor in Nigeria. I cannot forget that. I cannot forget that. And I know that any task, any assignment, any responsibility that you are given, and you accept to do it, whoever gives you that assignment, you go and sleep. Because you will do it to the best of your ability. And if you do not achieve success in it, even the man who gave you or the person who gave you the job or the assignment, if he does it, he will fail more than you have failed. That's what I know about you. That's what I cherish about you. And that's what endears you to me. In many, many ways. On page 23 of the bulletin, my tribute is printed. And those areas where we have interacted, I mentioned them in my tribute. But the greatest lesson that I have learned from you is that there's no rest for as long as you have the grace of God and you breathe the free air of God. Because I would have thought that after your many years in the bar, or at the bar, in the bar, that will be in prison, isn't it? You didn't go to prison that way. So it is at the bar in your case. It will be in the bar in my case. But I would have expected you, I would have expected you to be resting, to be relaxing. But then that was the time you decided to take on the onerous responsibility and duty of establishing this university. And you take it right from the beginning. And within a short period of time, you make it the leading university in the country. That is a lesson that we should all learn. Whatever we are given to do and whatever we agree to do or whatever we make up our mind to do, we should put the best of ourselves into it and make it the best that it can be. You have made this university the best that any university can be in Nigeria. I appreciate that. Well, my dear senior brother, my dear friend, my dear confidant, what remains? What remains is more of what you have done. You have met this world at a point. You have met your community at a point. You have met your family at a point. And what you have done is what you have met, you have made it better than what you have found. So your journey or your life is a journey. It's not a destination. And the foundation, the edifices that we are putting on the ground will continue to be built out upon, even when, after many, many more years on the surface of the earth, you have to go back to your Creator, so that those things that you have put your hands on, and you have said your two hands are your best friends. Your two hands are the things that can make you and make the environment that you are in. You have proved that. My prayer is that even when you depart this world, what you have left behind will continue to speak eloquently about what you have used your two hands to achieve. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Your Excellency, the former President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, GCFR, the celebrant, the founder and the founder of Abuad, the living spirits behind the creation of Ekiti State, God's gift, God gives to mankind and a special gift to Ekiti State, the father of the governor of Ekiti State. Are Afa Babalola and Mami Yeye Are Afa Babalola and members of the immediate families and friends of Daddy. The representative of the CGN, my lord, the CG of Ekiti State, and other judges of the judiciary that are here, both serving and retired, and the President, Customary Court of Appeal, Ekiti State. Let me use Chief Emeka Ayaopo as a point of contact to all the distinguished Nigerians that are here today. I can't mention everybody's name. Distinguished members of the bar that are here in their numbers. Kábíyèsí Arole Oòduà Ọ̀jọ́jà II, His Imperial Majesty Ọba Adéyẹyè Ẹnìtàn Ògúnwùsì. Kábíyèsí, I salute you, sir. I use the chair of Ekiti State Council of Traditional Rulers, Kábíyèsí Oníṣàn, as a point of contact to all royal fathers that are here. But I must specially recognize our chief host, the Ewi of Ado Ekiti. Our distinguished leader, former governor of Ekiti State, Chief Segun Oni. Nice to see you, sir. Our Lord Spiritual, the Bishop of the Anglican Communion and Bishop of the Catholic Church, you are recognized, Captain of Industry, the Chair of the Governing Council, the Vice Chancellor, faculty members, management and staff of Abuad. Good morning. Well, I'm not going to read my speech. It's easier for me to speak about Daddy from my heart. Daddy, I congratulate you. Thank you so much for what you are to humanity. Thank you so much for providing a platform for those that are hopeless to have hope. Thank you, Daddy, because I can stand here today as a governor of Ekiti State because of people like you. Whenever I'm called to speak about Daddy, what comes to my mind is, what should I say about him? And I'm going to share my own life experience. And this is not, I'm not making it up, thank God. But it's a good SAN is here in this audience. It's a living witness. I went to UI to do my master's, and I had a room in the university. But because I saved some money while I was serving to do my master's, so to relieve my parents from the burden of sponsoring me and creating a space for them to take care of my siblings, that money wasn't enough to prosecute my MSc program. So weekend I go to Boyega's house. So I will spend Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday with Boyega just to reduce costs and come back to the university. Boyega was doing MSc at IFE. But I didn't know that they will ask us to be typesetting our assignment. I thought you just ran by long answer and you submit. But lo and behold, they said we have to be typing every assignment. And I told Boyega, I can't afford this. He said, just bring me the manuscript. So I will give Boyega the manuscript. He will take it to Emmanuel Chambers. Daddy used to have one secretary, they call him Siaka and Oguri Efon. I don't know if I'm right. Boyega will take the manuscript there, they will type and bring to me, I will submit. So one day I asked him that if this man got to know that we are using his papers, his time to do this thing, he said, no. If Baba is aware of this, Baba will be very happy. So I did my master's degree. So since we are doing it free of charge, I packed my project, I dumped there. And they did the project for me, you know. And I got my MSc. I never met Chief, but I used to go to the chamber. I used the library to read. And after my second degree, I picked up a lecturing job at the university here. Then the struggle for the creation of Ekiti State started. I joined the committee as a member. Later, I became the secretary of that committee. I was the youngest. And I was shocked at Daddy's level of humility and commitment to that cause. And one picture that always runs through my mind is the fact that the day we are going to Mbane for Pane in Akure to defend our request for state creation, a night before the presentation, Daddy drove him from Ibadan. We were in Kabiyesi Witch Palace. So I was one of the people that had the privilege and honor to go to his vehicles to pack the loads of books and everything, following him to a Witch Palace. And Daddy insisted that we are going to Akure tomorrow, but can we do a mock presentation? And I was asking myself, this man is an SAN, we are not knowledge, what do we know? He insisted that we just have to do a mock presentation. And he took comments from everybody. When we got to Akure the following day, Daddy's performance was unforgettable. And Daddy, that singular act of patriotism and commitment to your people gave us Ekiti State. If we don't have this state, Daddy, I repeat, and all others that are the goal of this state will not have a platform to stand on. And on behalf of those that have governed this state, that you provided the platform for, and those that will come after us, I say thank you. God bless you.
I'm testing my voice. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. I love feedback from students especially. Baba Are Afe Babalola, Yeye Modupe Babalola, Baba, as we call him also, President Olusegun Obasanjo. It's wonderful to see you again, Baba. Excellencies, especially Excellency, the Governor of my state, other Excellencies, distinguished guests and colleagues, all protocols observed. Let me first say how delighted I am to be here today as a Nigerian and as an indigene of Ekiti State here. Of course, as a representative of King's College London, and I'm also standing in for the Vice Chancellor of the University of London. But King's College London is now home to the Afe Babalola Center for Transnational Education. I'll say more about this later. Now, I'm especially proud to be leading a 6-member delegation from King's College London for this celebration. There are 3 Nigerians in the group, I'll have you know, here, right? Including myself as Vice President for International Engagement and Service, my colleague, Professor Abiodun Alao, Professor of African Studies, my colleague, Associate Professor Ekaite Ipe, and that's a reader in Development Economics in Africa. These are the 3 leading Africans at King's College London. But I'm also proud to say that I have a heavyweight team here just to celebrate this day with you, Baba. We have renowned Professor Jenny Gallagher, MBE, Ambassador International Engagement and Service, and Newland Pedri, Professor of Dentistry. Now, we have Sarah Cook, who's a historian by training, an associate director with us at King's, and a member of my team in the international office, Lucas Palumbo, who's an alumnus of King's College London. I wanted to mention them by name so that you know that we took our time, Baba, to come here to celebrate this day with you. Now, let me say, though, that for several decades, the opportunity to meet and know Baba eluded me. Unlike most Nigerians of my generation, I knew him only by reputation as one of Nigeria's finest lawyers, as has already been said. However, the intensity of our closeness since I came to know him has made up for, in affection, what it lacks in the number of years. Of course, Baba Obasanjo is a close friend of his, and they've been together all these years. And I'm just realizing from Baba Obasanjo that he considers you a senior brother and confidant. I'm not surprised at all. Now, I need to say this in terms of my observations. We're told to talk about the Are Afe Babalola that we know. And let me say that his grace, his charm, his quick-wittedness, and the audacity of his boldness all make him one of the most remarkable people I have ever met. And if I may adapt the Shakespearean adage, I'm adapting it. He was not born great, we saw from the play, but he achieved greatness. And he has had greatness thrusted upon many, many others. So where do I really start talking about Are in that sense? This will be brief, but there are three parts to what I want to say in my brief message to you this morning. The first is a short personal reflection and observation. The second is a message from King's College London, where I'm vice president, as I said earlier, including a goodwill message from my president at King's College London, Professor Kshitij Kapoor. And the third is a message from the Vice Chancellor of the University of London, Professor Wendy Thompson, who couldn't make it here, but she asked me to convey this message. Now, for the benefit of those who may not know, King's College London, which it is a university in its own right, I should say, but it is also a founding member of the University of London. Two universities founded University of London in 1836. That's King's College London and University College London at the time. Let me now offer the first, which is my personal brief reflections on Are Afe Babalola that I know. In a way, I think I can best describe him using a string of paradoxical epithets. He's generous but frugal. He is firm but fair. He is frank but sympathetic. He is radical but strategic. He's compassionate but blunt. He's considerate but constructively critical. He's open but tactically cautious. He's boisterously friendly, and many of you have seen that. I've seen that in this short period of time, but not gregarious. He has the right dosages of everything that is needed for a successful and meaningful life, and his immense personal strength, selflessness, and unwavering faith have brought us the realization of personal ambitions to thousands of people who have been privileged to encounter him. And I think people in this audience will acknowledge that, that fact. There is, however, an aspect of Are's attributes that is often concealed behind the seriousness of his utterances, and that is a sense of humor. Baba Obasanjo talked about it a short while ago. Indeed, Are Afe Babalola is a wordsmith, and you saw that in the quotable quotes. He knows how to leave his audience with at least one phrase they would always have to remember him by. You saw that just now, and you've seen that already in the booklet. Now, let me bring a King's College London perspective to this message this morning. I can speak of Are Afe with multiple springs to his steps, his intellectual steps. And you have seen that. As an impact multiplier who builds bridges between generations and between the world of today and that of tomorrow, far into the future. At King's College London, we believe in the power of education and its role in service to society. This is a belief shared with Areafe Babalola, who for many years has been tireless in his efforts to break down the barriers for young Africans and to increase access to high-quality education. Thanks to Baba, we can proudly say today that many young African people in Africa and for generations to come will have access to opportunities that otherwise would not have been available to them. All right? And his transformative donation has helped us create the Afe Babalola Center for Transnational Education at King's College London. This center will do three things, amongst many others. One, it will offer life-changing education, blended and online programs to help talented young Africans contribute to their communities and the world. Two, it will provide a valuable opportunity to strengthen and grow our work with leading university partners in Africa. Abroad is going to be one of them, already is one of them, to deliver bespoke transformative education. Third and last, it will fund student scholarships to encourage more young people to seek a rewarding education. In the decades ahead, hundreds of thousands of Africans that will pass through this center will have one Babalola to thank, and that is Eni Afe Babalola. The president of King's College London, Professor Kshitij Kapoor, who will be visiting abroad in a few weeks' time, conveys his heartfelt thanks to Areafe for his generosity towards generations of students to come and congratulates you, Baba, on the occasion of this 60th anniversary since being called to bar. This outstanding achievement is testament to Areafe's dedication to excellence and service. And his story is a powerful example of the life-changing opportunities that are afforded by higher education. I will show this, you may not see it, but if the screen picks it up, you will see that we have already at King's put something here, created for Baba, for this special occasion itself. And that's about the Transnational Education Center. And it's not by accident that I'm wearing the King's College London red today to celebrate your occasion. Now, let me close with a brief message from Professor Wendy Thompson, Vice Chancellor of University of London. And I quote, "On behalf of everyone at the University of London, it gives me great pleasure to congratulate Afe Babalola on the 60th anniversary of being called to bar. We're very proud. In fact, I skipped something already. Are, your journey is remarkable and an inspirational example of everything we strive to do as a university, to educate, to empower, and to give back. We're very proud of your standing as a treble alumnus of the University of London. For those who don't know, he has a BSc in economics from University of London at the LSE. He has an LLB in law from University of London. And the treble alumnus she's referring to includes the honorary degree we were pleased to bestow on you in 2015 in recognition of a career and life dedicated to providing opportunities to others. I carry on her behalf. This includes, of course, your dedication within Nigeria. By establishing a board in 2009, you have harnessed education to counter the effects of ignorance, disease, and poverty. Some of this is from you as well, Baba, from some of your quotes. There is clear alignment between the mission of the University of London, which, as you know, was itself the catalyst for education in Nigeria. Your own personal contribution to both the University of London in directly supporting our students and your outstanding support of King's College London in establishing the Afe Babalola African Center for Transnational Education is a testament to your inspiration as a leader. Baba, I want to say that on behalf of all of us, we congratulate you and we're proud to be part of your history. But Wendy Thompson, on behalf of the University of London, sent you this portrait, which you will probably remember. I think it's one of you receiving your honorary doctorate from the University of London. I thank you.
Plaque or gift she's brought with her all the way from London. Please, photographers, don't overcrowd it. Can the Vice Chancellor please join in that picture? Please, Madam. Why are we not backing this backdrop here? Sorry, please, photographers, celebrant, why are we not using the backdrop so we can tell this properly? If we don't mind, can I ask you to come this way?
Predecessor and by the various speakers. I just want to say heartfelt welcome from the Durban University of Technology, situated in the city of Durban, KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. I'm bringing greetings from our Vice Chancellor, Professor Mtembu, from the DVCs, especially that of research, and also from the Deans of Faculties and the whole management and students and staff of the Durban University of Technology. This is my second time being here. I was here last year, and I had a rousing welcome from ABWAD. I'm very happy that we are able to be represented again this year on this auspicious occasion. When my Vice Chancellor heard about it, he said, no, we must send a representative. And fortunately, I was in line to come, and I'm very happy that I'm able to represent our university. The Durban University of Technology has an MOU here with ABWAD, and it has been one of the most successful MOUs that we have had. And I'm very happy that Professor Olarinde also of ABWAD has mentioned on several occasions that it is also one of the most successful MOUs that ABWAD has also had. So our two universities came together in 2021 under an MOU with this all-encompassing, but we started with PG studies, in which we have 30 ABWAD students, both academic staff and non-academic staff, who are undertaking postgraduate studies with us, PhDs and masters. And we are looking forward for them to graduate very soon because they are all very studious and they're doing very well and progressing in the area of study. And we are also, through this MOU, looking forward in the long term, whereby the two African universities can come together and have joint degrees. So students will have a degree with DUT and ABWAD. This will be our long-term goal. Coming to today's occasion, I want to say that this MOU would not have been possible but for the leadership of the founder of this prestige institution, this is what my Vice Chancellor wrote, President Are Afe Balalola. When I told him that we call him Are Afe Balalola, he said, no, there must be president beside it. So I'm very happy to use that nomenclature that he has given you, sir. Dear President Are Afe Balalola, that is how he has wrote in this letter that I'm going to read to you. He says, "Congratulations from the Durban University of Technology on your 60th anniversary call to the Bar of England and Wales. On behalf of the executive management and the larger DUT community, I extend our heartfelt congratulations to you and your family on the 60th anniversary of your call to the Bar of England and Wales. This is an impressive milestone, depicting your tireless dedication to the call of justice in Nigeria and also in the African continent. Your wisdom and experience are a true asset to the legal profession. You have been a pillar of strength and wisdom to the Nigerian people and also to Africa, especially when you and your generation, including our former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, fought tirelessly to dismantle the apartheid regime in South Africa. South Africa remembers Nigeria for this, and you are a pillar and a beacon for that to have happened in South Africa. Your contribution and investment in the field of medicine, agriculture, science and technology, law and sports, as well as youth entrepreneurship is laudable. And we pray that this legacy will continue, because if there's one thing that Africa needs, we need people like you to lead the youth in entrepreneurship so that youth of Africa can combat poverty through entrepreneurial endeavors. In 2021, the Afe Babalola University entered an MOU with DUT as two sister African countries, and this is something that is very rare. Most African universities look to the north to engage with, but these two universities have decided to engage with one another, and so far it has been a tremendous success. We are very happy to report that this collaboration has become very fruitful and positive in all areas. We have together built each other in terms of capacity. We have supervisors from the Durban University of Technology and also from ABWAD, collaborating together to see the students through. We have had exchange programs, and COVID came and disrupted, but now we are going to resume whereby ABWAD students can come over to DUT and vice versa. This would not have been possible without your able leadership. We thank you, sir, for allowing this collaboration between two African universities to take place, even in your lifetime and also in our lifetime. We note as well that ABWAD is now ranked the best university in Nigeria, and that is something of great joy to us, because we in DUT also, we are ranked #1 University of Technology in the whole of Southern Africa. We hope that your success will continue to serve as a beacon of hope for future generations. It is an honor to have you as a friend of DUT. We wish you all the best as you celebrate the 60th anniversary of your call to the Bar of England and Wales. We wish you all the best into the future. Thank you so very much. And on behalf of the management and staff of DUT, we present this as a memorial to this great occasion.
Good afternoon. First of all, I'd like to start by thanking the Royal Highness, His Excellencies, my Lord Justices here present, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great honor to be here to welcome all of you to celebrate a significant milestone in the life of Are Afe Babalola, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, CON. He's a great man, and is the man we're celebrating this afternoon. It is an honor and a privilege on behalf of all my siblings, who I'll name once again, from Tunde Babalola to Maumi Majakodumi, Bolanle Austin Peters, Biodun Bennett, Boyega Babalola, Okpeyemi Babalola, Ayodeji Babalola, and Laoye. We'd like to talk about our father, Are Afe Babalola. I'm quite sure most of you don't know much about this aspect of him as being a beloved father. To a lot of people, Daddy means a lot because he obviously wears so many hats and he's touched so many people. But to us, Daddy is simply Daddy. You know, throughout our lives, you have been such a tower of strength, Daddy. You are a hero. You are a role model. You are a counselor, a pathfinder. You've taught us all that we know today. And you've always believed in one thing, the power of education. Albert Einstein said, education is not just the learning of facts and figures, but it is the training of the mind to think. Daddy, you sent us all to the best schools in the world. You do anything for any one of us to achieve that goal, which you really wanted us to be, which is the best. And we want to seize this opportunity to thank you for doing that, for every one of us, for sending us to the best schools. And this has given each and every one of us the opportunity for us to be who we are today. We have all created a niche and carved out the best so that we can give back to society in our own ways. And we thank you. You've taught us more than anything the virtues of hard work, of being humble, which I believe all of us are because of you. You're a humble man. You've given us more than anything, you taught us how to respect others. Money doesn't mean anything to any one of us. You've taught us to be selfless and to be loving. Daddy, more than anything, what you've taught each and every one of us is to be independent and not to be dependent on anyone. And all of us are independent, despite the fact that you're a billionaire. The book of Proverbs in chapter 22, 29, because we all believe in God. God has been kind to Daddy. He says, "Seest thou a man diligent in himself? He will walk before kings and not mere men." And Daddy, that's truly who you are. You know, if you look at yourself, kings, presidents all want to dine with you, and they are dining with you. We have our father here, the General Olusegun Obasanjo. Everyone wants to be with you, but why? Because you worked hard to be where you are. You know, you've demonstrated that anyone can be anything if you put in hard work. Anything Daddy touches is gold. You're a testament of everything he's done in life. From law to farming to education to hospital, just name it, to his entrepreneurial ventures. Look at the industrial park. Everything Daddy has touched has been gold. You are phenomenal. You are the best. I don't know anyone on earth. 99.9% in this world cannot do what Daddy has done. I mean, Daddy, you taught us to care. You care for us. And Daddy really loves every of his children. But one thing Daddy will not condone is he's a very disciplined man. So he expected high grace from each and every one of us. And he set the bar high for us. So for us, some of us, I mean, Daddy that we celebrate today, honestly, he doesn't believe in mediocrity. So if you don't do what you're not, he won't just support you. So for some people, it looks like, oh, Daddy shows partiality towards some of his children has done well. But that's not true. Daddy just believes that if he can do it, starting from nowhere, not going to school when he was young, if he could achieve what he did, then why can't we all achieve and put in our best? Because he believes that success is earned through dedication, through perseverance, and shouldn't be bestowed on anyone. Daddy, you're a simple man, you're humble. You know, he doesn't believe in social life. He doesn't go out to any social functions. But guess what? We all see the benefit of his hard work today. You can't invite Daddy to any function and he's there. But truly, we're proud of who you are, Daddy. He's like a clock. You know, he has a set time for everything. He wakes up before 7. He's at work before 8 a.m. every day. By 3 p.m., he's back at home to eat, if you know him. By 4, he's gone to sleep. It's siesta time. Daddy wakes up at 8, and guess what? He works till midnight. At 92, he's still doing that. He's a strong man. But you know what? Daddy is fashionable. As you can see, we all are fashionable. We took it from my dad. He loves singing. And that's why you see today when he's dancing, Sonia Ade is a favorite artist. Because Daddy actually was part of a band when he was young. He's got the most beautiful and amazing voice. But Daddy is also very, very accommodating. Since we were young, you can't come to our house to eat at lunch. You think we're having Christmas party. It's always a feast. And I thank Yeye for always preparing those food for each and every one of us. If you had been to our house yesterday, you would think they had planned to have a party. There's nobody that comes to Daddy and he doesn't hand over an envelope to. He's such a generous man. I don't know how he does it. He never thinks about himself. He never does anything for himself but work. But more than anything, when we were young, my greatest recollection is Daddy wanted us to be as knowledgeable as he is because he's extremely knowledgeable. There's no area, there's no subject that Daddy doesn't know. So he tells us, take a newspaper, read, he will give us the Times magazine. Then when he comes back, he's asking you questions about geography, history, which I really hated. But you know, that's Daddy because he just wanted us to excel. And one thing that is remarkable about Daddy is extremely unique. You know, when he says Nyafe, he really is someone that God loves. He's the apple of God's eye. 5 of us are lawyers. 5 of us were born on the 21st of various months. April, I was born in April 21, my brother June 20. Just so many. 21 is Daddy's lucky number. So I remember when we were young, his car always had AP 2121, AD 2121. So I know that anything Daddy does that's on the 21st is a success. But lastly, more than anything, Daddy, we really love you. You know, I think it was Dr. Fumi earlier on that quoted William Shakespeare that said, some people were born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. Daddy, you have achieved greatness. Yeah, you took the mantle of leadership, ran with this, and you're even greater than anyone I know. You have raised the bar very, very high regarding purposeful giving. I've never seen anyone like you in my life. There's no greater attestation to Daddy's giving than what we are seeing here today. You know, he built a better society for each and every one of us by the works of his hands. We're all standing on this edifice, which was built by one man. You know, this country, this state especially, is living and is standing because of Daddy's, you know, just great heart, just to leave a better legacy for each and every one of us. Daddy, we admire you. We don't know how we can ever fill those shoes. I pray God will help us. You're an inspiration to so many. You are our role model, you're our father. I really, on behalf of all my siblings, want to say how much we appreciate what you've done for us. And we pray that God will continue to give you good health, long life, to continue to do what you're doing for everyone in this world. God bless you, sir. Pray for us, sir.
Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, our very humble governor, Omoluabi par excellence. We are all very proud of you. Lórúkọ gbogbo orí adé àgbèyìn o, ẹ ó máa mọ̀ ṣe o. Baba Ọbásanjọ́, the astute leader, elder statesman, a very irreplaceable elder statesman indeed, that God has given us, not only in Nigeria, but the entire continent of Africa, we the black people. Eba mi pàtẹ́wọ́ fún Baba. We are all here to celebrate that I always say one man. If I have my way, I will hold this microphone for more than 5 hours to talk about Are Afe Babalola. I know the students are murmuring. Are Afe Babalola was very worthy of this celebration. A very priceless elder statesman. I'm very privileged to have a personal relationship with him. A personal relationship that I look forward to coming to Abuad every time. If he doesn't hear from me, he will say, Kábíyèsí, eti daminu mani bàbá tó dáa jùlọ gbogbo àgbáyé. Kò ṣeé ṣe, mi ò lè dà yín nù. And indeed, you are worthy to be celebrated every day. For me, I celebrate you every day on the throne of Oduduwa. And I mean it. Everybody will come here and say a whole lot of things about you. But you have lived a very fulfilled life. And you are an example to each and every one of us, young and old. What have we used our life to do? How well have we contributed to our society? Not on this scale, in our own little way. Look at how selfless a man is. It is very obvious. You will come to this world. At some point you will leave. But some people, we don't even want them to leave this world. Baba, as far as I'm concerned, I want to have you forever. Ọlọ́run Ọba lọ́ra ẹ̀mí yín. Lórúkọ gbogbo orí adé, Ọlọ́run Ọba wa dá yín sí. Ara yín á máa lé o. Ẹ ní ṣàìsàn. Baba, you are a great icon. Baba, you are a great icon. Baba, you are indeed a great icon. In order to take our time, for me, as I mentioned, I celebrate you every day, and I will continue to do it. It's my commitment, and also to teach the young ones about your virtues, about what you stand for. All of us here today, we've benefited one way or the other from your wealth of experience, not only material-wise, but in so many ways. You have actually mentored a lot of people. I remember at some point, we wanted to do something for you in Lagos. I took it upon myself. I said, Baba, can you give me like 10 names of some very close SAN to you? Eventually, Baba gave me like 40 names. I started calling about 40 SANs. You will not believe what happened. They started envying one another. That Kábíyèsí, you didn't call me. You didn't call me. Eventually, I ended up calling almost 100 SAN in this country. Is he not a great man? Is he not a great icon? To me, you will be an icon to reckon with forever. We will do 3 things. All of us that are here, we will clap for Baba, we will stand up for Are Afe Babalola, and we will sing for Are Afe Babalola. And you will follow me with this stone. I have a small song to sing for Baba. If you love this great icon, say Area Fair. If you love this great icon, say Area Fair. If you love this great icon and you really want to show it, if you love this great icon, say Area Fair. I'm not satisfied at all. I want everybody to stand up. And you're here, they might be no. Baba tell you, what to be, what to be, no. Ẹ jẹ́ ká fi ìdúró yẹ wọ́n sí. Bàbá yìí, Ọlọ́run kẹ́ wa, àwọn ọmọ káàárọ̀ oòjíire tí wọ́n pèsè bàbá yìí fún wa láti ọ̀run wá. Inú mi dùn, gbogbo èso ara wọn náà mo rí wọn. Ọlọ́run Olódùmarè á jẹ́ kẹ́ pẹ́. You will all sing this song very well for me. You will shout, Ààrẹ Afẹ́. You will dance, and you will clap. So the song goes again. Which one should we start with? To clap, to dance, or to shout? Which one? All together. Students, are you there? We should do 3 in 1. Okay, let's start with clapping. If you love, wait for me now, wait for me now. If you love this great icon, say Area Fair. If you love this great icon, say Area Fair. If you love this great icon and you really want to show it, if you love this great icon, say Area Fair. If you love this great icon, clap your hands. If you love this great icon, clap your hands. If you love this great icon and you really want to show it, if you love this great icon, clap your hands. People, clap your hands. If you love this great icon, stand up to dance. And Shambi, shake to the left, shake to the right. Oh yeah, you can come with music. If you love this great icon, stand up to dance. If you love this great icon and you really want to show, if you love this great icon, stand up to dance. If you love this great icon, shout Area Fair. If you love this great icon, shout Area Fair. Your Excellency, the Governor of Ekiti State, our father, Are Afe Babalola, the royal fathers that are here present, distinguished guests. Please permit me to stand on the already established protocol. I have the instruction of the Honorable Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kayode Ariwola, to represent him here. It is part of his instruction that I deliver his address. However, I would rather drop his address with the organizers of this program. It is a 10-page address. In order to save time, I will not read it. Instead, I will read his goodwill message on page 26 of our pamphlet. I read, please. My dear learned Sikh, it is my honor to write this congratulatory message on the occasion of your 60th anniversary of call to the English bar. I was delighted when I heard the news of the commemoration of 60 years anniversary of your call to the bar. Indeed, this is a rare milestone worthy of celebration, especially as the years have been dedicated to the active practice of law, promotion of the rule of law, and the cause of justice. I have no doubt that in the past 60 years you have consistently registered yourself as an epitome of excellence, brilliance, leadership, maturity, administrative prowess, and honesty at the bar. This is even more glaring as you continue to replicate these no-mean virtues among all assemblies within and outside the bar. Needless to say that your contribution to the development of law and administration of justice in Nigeria and beyond is pramos interference non-secondant. Gives me immense joy and serve as a cause of gratitude to God that as a nonenarian, you continue to impact the law and society positively in many lofty respects. This rare privilege is bestowed on very few, and I'm very proud to celebrate with you and identify with all that you represent, while wishing the Are Bamofin the very best in the tireless pursuit of the cherished virtues. It is my prayer that God Almighty continue to grant you longer life, sound health, the requisite wisdom, counsel, understanding, and skills required to continue to leave footprints on the sands of time. It is my heartfelt prayer that your inviolable legacies will continue will outlive you. Once again, Are, please accept my felicitation. Yours faithfully, Honorable Justice Olukayode Ariwola, GCON. Thank you.
Celebrant of today, Papa Are Afe Babalola. I also salute my boss, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, former president of this great country. I am happy for the opportunity to stand before you this afternoon to thank you, sir. When I say sir here, I mean the former president for the opportunity he gave me to serve under him as a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Now that came about because I am one of the professional offsprings of Are Afe Babalola. It was Are Afe Babalola who nominated me to His Excellency, the former president. It wasn't because I was in politics. I was not in politics. But they are great friends. And when there was a vacancy in his cabinet, he called on his friend Are to give him the name of a lawyer who can work with him. That was the way it happened. And I became a minister without being in politics. I'm happy to see you here today, sir. And I'm happy again that I'm able to thank you publicly for the opportunity, sir. Now, I want to congratulate especially our father, Are Afe Babalola. When it came, because I didn't start life as a lawyer, I rather was working with the University of Ibadan before I went to read law. So when it came for me now to do my chamber attachment, that was when I found my way into the chambers of Are. And you have had a lot said here today. He is a philanthropist. I am a great beneficiary, you see, of that nature of his. Now, when I was on attachment to the chambers from the law school, he gave us an assignment, and I tried my best in that assignment. There were 5 of us posted to the chambers at that time. And when he saw what I wrote, he now called me to his office and said, "Young man, who are you?" I said, "Sir, I am Akiolu Jimmy." He said, "Yes, I know your name. But who really are you?" I didn't really know what to say. Because if he knew my name, and I was there in the chambers to do attachment, so what else do I have to say to show who I was? But then I said, "I am in the law school." He said, "Yes. I know you are there, and that's why you are here. But I read through your preparation of the case I gave you. Now, what you wrote for me, certainly if you claim to be 15 years at the bar, I will not argue with you. So where did you learn all that you put in your write-up?" And I said to him, "I have been reading." He said, "Reading?" I said, "Yes, sir. That I did not just limit myself to what we have been taught in the law school, that I was doing extra reading, extra study." He said, "Yes. I think you will be a material for this profession." will you like to work with me? When you finish your law school, I didn't go there to look for a job. I was posted there for law school, chamber attachment, and now an offer of job was coming to me just like that. I picked it up. I said, yes, sir. He now said, what car would you like to buy? Look at me. From law school to the chambers to land, this offer of a job, offer of a car. Didn't know how to respond to it. He said, yes, yes, young man, tell me. Okay. I said, sir, I would like to buy a 504. At that time, there's nothing like Tokumbo. Brand new 504. He gave me the money to go and buy, even though I was in the law school. Gave me the money to go and buy a car. Then he said, how much is your fee in the law school? I said, sir, I have paid it. He said, yes. I know you have paid, but I want to refund it to you. I told him, and he refunded it. Then he said to me, anytime you come to Ibadan from the law school, any weekend you come, please come to the chambers. And of course, I was doing that. And each time I went there, he would always have money to give to me. Now, that's a clear demonstration, you see, of his nature as a philanthropist. Now, that nature of his, up till tomorrow, is still there. Recently, one of my colleagues in the chambers, we went to greet him. When we were doing the matter here, we left the court and said, let's go and see Papa. And we came. Now, as we were leaving, he dipped his hand into a box behind him and took out money. When he offered me money and my partner, we were reluctant. Then he said, very rich Ekiti. He said, Okine koja bakun. I didn't understand what I meant. He said, yes, you don't understand. I know you are doing well, you are making money, but you cannot be richer than add this to what you have. That is what Papa represents. A philanthropist of note. Now, in the chambers, I know they were beckoning to me to finish quickly, but I need to say one or two things here. Now, in the chambers, we were many in the chambers, and today we thank God. Several SANs have passed through his hand. Many are judges at the High Court level, Court of Appeal level, Supreme Court level. But one thing about him is that he works hard and he likes you to also work hard. One of the quotes here that they paraded a while ago, there's one that I keep remembering every day, and that is, he prays most who works hardest. That's his philosophy of life. And we have all imbibed it. And that is helping us today. Now look at behind me here. We are just a few of those who are lucky, you see, to pass through the chambers. Many are still there. Those of us who are out are benefiting today by the great name he has made and the learning we all got under him. One thing that we all here will testify to is Papa's power of cross-examination. Now, this university is a young one, about 13 years, I think. But see the level it has attained today. Number one in Africa and globally. That is part of the evidence of hard work. We have very many universities older than this one in this country today, but that distinction this university has attained has no doubt shown that hard work pays, and when you work hard, there is a lot that you can gain. So it's a lesson unto all of us, the students who are here and our juniors who are still in chambers. You have to work hard. You have to work hard. It pays to work hard. Hard work doesn't kill. It only helps you see, to succeed in life. So I want to thank again, Papa, what you have done for us. We love you. We continue to love you. We respect you. You are a great icon that makes us proud each time we think of you. My colleagues who cannot be here today sent their goodwill. They said that because of some urgent assignments, they could not be here. But they said, since I will be here, I should let you know that they couldn't be here because of these other national assignments. I'm so grateful to you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Yield the microphone to our moderator, or perhaps, sir. All right, so the stage is set. Let's hear now Bishop Matthew Hassan Kuka speak to the subject matter, the need for constitutional reform for Nigeria. Please, a round of applause.
Thank you very much. Let me skip through the protocols, and for obvious reasons, I'm sure you understand why it's useful for me to stand on existing protocols. Unlike President Obasanjo, I have great advantage over him, and I'm also happy that he was called before me. He did say to you that he will get to heaven before me, and I'm really mightily happy about that, because he has to die before me to get to heaven. So I'm not in a hurry at all. Sir, please, I'm not in a hurry. Unlike President Obasanjo, I am not afraid of lawyers. I have earned my medals with the lawyers because I have spoken at least 3 different occasions over the last 20 or so years. I've addressed the national meeting of the Nigerian Bar Association. I've also served under 3 Supreme Court justices, Justice Okuta, Justice Uwais, and Justice Nikki Toby. So I think I have more than earned my medals in law. I was struck to see Femi Falana, of all people, having to really genuflect to greet President Olusegun Obasanjo. I'm not sure that is something he did with all his heart and all his mind. My job has been made very easy. My job has been made very easy because I think many of you must be pretty tired. And so what I'm going to do, I had prepared a paper. Unfortunately, the organizers didn't tell me that we were going to have a panel designed like this. So I'll have to skip through the first part of my paper, which attempts to look at the whole idea of the future of constitutionalism, but as a process within Nigeria and also constitutionalism around many parts of Africa. So I will skip through that in part because I think that Nigeria's history is pretty convoluted as far as constitutionalism is concerned. It's not a subject I'm an expert in, but at least I think we can pay attention to the fact that even the nature of our history as a colonial state, as a post-colonial state, also as a nation that was also fractured by a series of military interventions. And as you know, every time the military came to power, the first casualty was rule of law, first casualty was constitution, therefore the first casualty was the National Assembly. So, and every time we almost ended up like Sisyphus, because every time a military regime comes and we attempt a new order, for those of you who may not be familiar, Sisyphus was said to have angered the Greek gods. And for his punishment, he was asked to roll a stone up the hill. But also in punishment, every time he rolled the stone close to the top of the hill, the gods will trip and the stone will go back and Sisyphus will have to go to the bottom of the hill to start all over again. I've used that metaphor in referring to Nigeria's struggle, not only with constitutionalism, but also with the struggle for democracy. So both of them go hand in hand, so to say. So as I said, I'm not going to go through most of that. But it's important to understand the nature of the political landscape of Nigeria. I've often said, rather jokingly, but I think it's important for our records, that we are perhaps one country that cannot speak about how many presidents we have had. We don't use generic terms. If we say, how many presidents have we had in Nigeria? We can say President Obasanjo came twice, one as head of state, one as president. Buhari came 2 times, one as head of state, one as president. Then we have head of interim government. Then we've had all kinds of. So Nigeria's constitutional history is so fractured. We've had a series of constitutions, beginning with the initiative of the British colonialists, right through to the processes that all of us are very familiar with. In my little experience, and thanks to President Obasanjo, who appointed me as Secretary of the Political Reform Conference, I've had a little bit of closeness in looking at the issues and the debate. One of the most frustrating things for me in looking at the history of Nigeria's struggle with constitutionalism is the process itself of making a constitution. And if you compare it, and the paper tries to look at that, but I probably won't go into it, is that unlike the making of the American Constitution, about which I spent a little bit of time in the paper, because the Americans, when they were making their constitution, at least had sources of inspiration, whether it was the Declaration of Independence in 1776, or the American Constitution itself, which came into being in 1787, or the Emancipation Proclamation, in which Abraham Lincoln made the defining statement, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal, and they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. Among these are the rights to liberty and the pursuit of happiness." That means that essentially, the Americans, in making their constitution, allowed for the fact that there has to be enough space for every individual to pursue as a matter of right, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The next is the Gettysburg speech, which Abraham Lincoln delivered on the 19th of November in 1863. And he speaks to the issues because that is where we find our definition of democracy. So American constitutionalism drew inspiration from a range of scholars, whether it's Machiavelli, John Locke, the Bible itself, Thomas Hobbes, Russell, Thomas Paine, Burke, Mills, and even Karl Marx himself. And the result of all this is that you have, in the American Constitution, a document, although it has been subjected to amendments, but you can see very clearly that there was a historical and ideological background to the framing of the American Constitution. In our own situation in Nigeria, part of our problem, in my little experience, has been the process of even electing those who are going to talk about writing the new constitution. Now, the Political Reform Conference that I served in, we had 400 members. Compare it to the number of those who had to write the American Constitution. And for me, one of the very interesting things, people like Thomas Madison and some of the framers of the Constitution, it's amazing to see the depth of knowledge and the effort that people made to acquire so much knowledge preparatory to writing the Constitution. Thomas Jefferson, for example, was said to have, he was living in France, when the issue of writing the Constitution came about. And his friend, Madison, requested that he should please help him find enough material that they will study. And his friend sent him 195 books just to prepare for this very important assignment. I make the point because if you compare it with the Nigerian situation, where coming to participate in the making of the Constitution is always at the discretion of the person who is the president. And he uses other sources of information. But I found that the struggle to represent traditional rulers, to represent the church, to represent all kinds of aggregate groups, ends up with a lot of people with very little understanding of what constitution making is. And what became very clear to me that most of the people who showed up saw the place as a theater for politicking and political transaction. So you can run through the Nigerian situation, but long story short, it is that first of all, there are no perfect constitutions anywhere in the world. And that in the final analysis, a constitution may be like the finest car that you can have, or the finest aeroplane. It depends on whose hands it is in. I stumbled on a poem, a very beautiful poem, which said that a racket is a racket, just for playing tennis. But it's not an ordinary thing for playing tennis if it is in the hands of Djokovic, or if it is in the hands of Serena Williams or Venus Williams. A football is an ordinary football, but in the feet of Messi, it's a completely different tool altogether. So the point is that a constitution ought to be able to meet certain objectives and ideals. But in the final analysis, it is not so much the quality of the constitution, it is the quality of the men and women who have to operate the constitution. So I would like to, as I said, maybe run through to the end of my paper, where I raise quite a few things, because that's where I discuss what I call, what is the future of constitutionalism in Nigeria? I need to do that so that, the members can have an opportunity to discuss the things that need to be discussed. The first is that let's not be exuberant about how far we have traveled on the path of democracy, in part because there were a lot of ideological contestations around the world, especially after 1989 with the collapse of the Berlin Wall, where many African scholars were talking about the new liberation of Africa, because they discovered that colonialism hadn't worked, but that successive military rules and one-man dictatorships across the continent had destroyed the foundations of our freedom, had elevated ethnicity, and created ample room and opportunity for all kinds of non-state actors to embarrass and subdue democracy. So the point to make is that the very fact that we're barely a few months since the departure of the last military general means that we must be modest in our talking about the depth of our democracy and how far we have traveled. The second point is to look at the state of Nigeria itself. Do we resemble a democracy? Do we work like a democracy? Do we talk like a democracy? Because the very fact that up till now, months after our elections and after swearing in a president, we still don't know who is going to be the president of Nigeria until the Supreme Court is over. Very much akin to the introduction of the video assistant referee in football, in which case we are like a man who has scored a goal, but we have to wait for the referee to go to VAR and confirm whether it was a goal or not a goal. It's not evident. It is a symptom of how modest our claim should be, because we very often confuse the very fact that we're in a civilian administration with the notions of being in a democracy. That if we cannot fix our electoral process, which is the defining law for how to choose leaders in a democracy, then we must be modest in our saying that we're in a democracy. Secondly, our judiciary is in a crisis of perception, but also based on the experiences that Nigerians have had. It will not be surprising if ordinary Nigerians think that the only thing the Supreme Court does is to look at election petitions. Because we're looking up to the Supreme Court to help extend the frontiers of democracy and human freedoms. But very often, those institutions with Nigerians perceive that they've now become so severely, compromised. That has consequences for democracy and how we see the process of democratization. We also have a raft of agitations across the country. We have seen the worst face of corruption in Nigeria. Femi Falana, my friend here, will speak about that because he's published a series of articles talking about what happened under the Buhari administration. They were not the ones who caused corruption, but I think in the last administration we saw the ugliest face of corruption in many, whether in moral terms, financial terms, or other terms. And I'll mention that before I close. We have a country that we are now sharing with bandits. Our very sovereignty, which is guaranteed in the Constitution, is under assault because we have non-state actors, whether you call them bandits or Boko Haram. It is that the entire territorial integrity of the nation is at stake. Because nobody is excited now about being a Nigerian. Whether you are president, whether you are senator, no matter who you are, everybody is working with his, with bated breath, because we don't know. We are literally now being held hostages, by people that are a threat to the very existence of our democracy and our country. Hundreds and thousands of Nigerians are still unaccounted for. They are in the hands of bandits. They are in the bushes. The Chibok girls, all kinds of things. And if the essence of our Constitution is to guarantee a quantum of rights and freedom and the pursuit of happiness, what do we have to say? So when we talk about constitutionalism, we're also talking about a framework for guaranteeing, as I said, the freedoms that document contains. Now, the challenge, therefore, going forward is, what can we do? Now, there's a lot of distrust of the judiciary in Nigeria, but I consider the judiciary victims almost in the same way that every institution in Nigeria is suffering a crisis, whether it's the judiciary, whether it's the church, whether it's civil society, whether it's the academia, right across the country. So the question, therefore, is, I don't think we should assume that we're in a democracy. We should assume that we're marching towards a democracy, but the hard work is still undone. And that means rebuilding Nigeria after the kind of mess that the last administration has left our country, whether it is in civil society, whether it is in the most immoral distribution of resources and opportunities in Nigeria. We know the documents are there, the evidence is there. I've got stuff on my phone that gives a count of the number of federal institutions that were planted in Daura in the last 8 years, where the president comes from. I come from Southern Kaduna. Had I made this presentation as a keynote address with enough time, I would have shown you bullets. I would have shown you empirical evidence you can measure. That is that where I come from, there is not up till today, since the creation of Kaduna State, one single sign of a federal structure in the area of Nigeria where I come from. When you hear Nigerians talk about the South, when they talk about Southern Borno, Southern Adamawa, when they talk about Southern Bauchi, when they talk about Southern Nasarawa, when they talk about Southern Taraba, when they talk about Southern Kaduna, those areas are contiguous with the areas of poverty, neglect at the federal level. So the point, therefore, is that we need to think a little bit more clearly and much more creatively about how we can mobilize our people and how ordinary Nigerians can see that being in power is not just about opportunity for self-enrichment. Because the sad story, let me put it that way, the very fact that Daura has had the opportunities that it has never had since its existence. And that even Katsina, that is next door, has not seen the development that has taken place in Daura. Nothing personal, but just to say that we cannot run a skewed country, a country with such skewed opportunities and privileges, and pretend that we're in a democracy. So when you look at, for example, what I call the violation and desecration of the Constitution by even those who administer the Constitution, themselves. So I make the point, therefore, that restoring confidence in the professionalism of the military and moving away from seeing the insecurity as purely a military operation to addressing issues of insecurity as matters that concern everybody. You talk to senior military officers, serving and retired, and there is a certain kind of feeling that in the last 8 or so years, because how do you run a country in which there is absolutely diversity, management of diversity becomes the victim? A president has such enormous powers, but what do you use those powers for? I give you one simple example. You know, something that happened because countries change in the hands of certain presidents. Okay? As I said, I come from Southern Kaduna. We have had 3 service chiefs, and they were appointed by President Obasanjo, whom I must commend. I mean, we look like friends, but we really have a lot of debate and argument. Don't mind what you see outside. He's a man who enjoys debate, but also we confront ourselves with certain realities. But the people of Southern Kaduna remember that he's about the only one who ever appointed a minister who came from Southern Kaduna. Or he's the only one who ever appointed army chiefs who came from Southern Kaduna. So now many of you had the leaked video of my former governor talking about the nature of the distribution of opportunities and so on and so forth. It's not the point. We now have an opportunity to rebuild our country. And no matter what happens, how the Supreme Court ends, how things end in Nigeria, I'm convinced that we have put the past, the ugly past, behind us. The challenge, therefore, for me and for us is to open up the frontier of opportunity. As I said, presidents have tremendous powers. Under President Lyndon Johnson, after the death of Kennedy on November 22, 1964, Lyndon Johnson took over power. And Lyndon Johnson did some of the most dramatic things that perhaps I believe that even if John Kennedy had lived, he probably would not have achieved. Black people would not have seen the opportunities that they saw under Lyndon Johnson. And I take just one example to show you that if a president has, first of all, a president has to understand his country. Also, you have to understand where people are hurting. You also have to be a man of integrity who understands how to manage differences. The American Supreme Court was made up of white people. In 1916, Woodrow Wilson had decided that a Jew will be allowed to enter the Supreme Court. And even bringing in a Jew to the Supreme Court, the next day, it was reported in the papers that Woodrow Wilson had sent a bomb into the Supreme Court. Now, the Jew was white. But Lyndon Johnson felt that a black man needed to be in the Supreme Court. Then he decided on Thurgood Marshall. Thurgood Marshall had expanded the frontiers of opportunity for black people through arguing the case in 1954 of Brown versus Board of Education. And there are certain seismic changes that the Supreme Court can make in terms of how people see themselves, because that is what opened up the opportunities. But then when Lyndon Johnson became president, he wanted a black man in the Supreme Court, but he didn't know what to do because there was nobody in the Supreme Court that was about to retire. In the American Supreme Court, I think you stay until you drop. Now, one of the youngest justices, Justice Tom Clark, he was a justice of the Supreme Court, only 67 years, but he was a good friend of the president. And
thank you for joining us again on the News Hour on Biscon Television. I'm Stella Opala. First, the high points of the news. On the national scene, Interior Minister tests electronic gates at Abuja Airport. ECOWAS allocates $25 million in 2024 to fight terrorism in Nigeria and others. In business news, NNPCL partner begin oil production at OML 85, targets 20,000 barrels per day. On the foreign scene, U.S. House advances $95 billion Ukraine-Israel package ahead of Saturday's vote. And in the weather sport, insurance begins title defense against stormers ahead of 2024 Federation Cup. Now the news in full. The Minister of Interior, Olufemi Tunjiojo, has led a test run of the newly installed electronic gates, e-gates, at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja, affirming that the project was almost completed. Tunjiojo announced plans to deploy the e-gate for full operation by the following week. Joining him were top officials including the ministry's permanent secretary, Aishetu Ndayako, and the Controller General of Immigration, Kemi Nana Nanda. The minister emphasized that the e-gates aims to streamline passenger movement, eliminating human interfaces and bureaucratic hurdles. According to him, the deployment plans include 29 e-gates for Lagos, 4 for Enugu and Kano each, and 5 for Port Harcourt. He further highlighted rigorous testing of airport infrastructure and command centers, ensuring fake and expired passports are rejected, while genuine ones are processed seamlessly. Now, the National Publicity Secretary of the All Progressives Congress, Felix Morka, says it would be wrong for anybody to liken the current travail of their national chairman, Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje, to the political intrigues that led to the removal of the Adams Oshomole-led National Working Committee from the party secretariat. While responding to questions surrounding Ganduje's suspension in an interview with the Newsman, says Oshomole, a former national chairman of the party, and members of the then National Working Committee were elected into office for 4 years in 2018 to 2022 at a national convention in Abuja. But the leadership of the party was dissolved 2 years into their tenure, an action that a former acting chairman of the APC, Ntufam Etta, claimed was taken to derail the presidential ambition of Bola Tinubu, now president. Reacting to the apprehension that Ganduje may be heading in the same direction, Morka insisted that the situations were different. In another story, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, says it allocated $25 million in 2024 to fight terrorism in Nigeria, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. ECOWAS Commissioner of Human Development and Social Affairs, Professor Fatawu Sarr, disclosed this during a news conference at the Commission's headquarters in Abuja. Sarr said that $4 million of the amount was dedicated to humanitarian action to curb the devastating consequences of terrorism and mitigate the fallout of natural disasters in the sub-region. She noted that humanitarian actions were critical because of the multiple crises and displacements within the community, adding that such actions never stop even where the target country is under sanctions. Now, the federal government and the Republic of Cameroon have signed a cooperation framework on transboundary ecosystems conservation and sustainable management of forestry and wildlife resources. The Minister of Environment, Balarabe Lawal, signed the agreement alongside his Cameroonian counterpart on forestry and wildlife, Cameroon, Jos Ndongo, in Abuja. The implementation of the agreement aims to supervise and coordinate identified areas of cooperation, ensure special protocols are consistent with identified ideas of cooperation, collaborate in the implementation of common transboundary programs, and develop the institutional and mobilization of funds for the implementation of common transboundary programs. The 2023 Wildlife Chapter of the United Nations Office on Drug and Crimes Organized Crime Threat Assessment for Nigeria found that Nigeria is a key transit hub and consolidation point for various forms of illegal trade in wildlife and forest products, especially for pangolin, ivory, and rosewood. In another story, an elder statesman and former governor of Old Oyo State, Dr. Omololu Olunloyo, has broken his silence about the rumor of his death, saying he's alive. Olunloyo, who spoke with newsmen in his Molete residence in Ibadan, the state capital, says he is hale and hearty. He also expressed worry over the rumor and asked who would live forever, adding that those breaking death news and the person presumed dead will all die one day. The elder statesman further illustrated how the rumor of his death hit several news platforms on June 7, 2022. You're watching Biscon Television News. Up next is Business News. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Now to business news. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and its joint venture partner in OML 85, First Exploration and Petroleum Development Company Limited, have commenced oil production from the asset, also known as Madu Field. Production from the field, which is located in shallow waters offshore Bayelsa State and operated by First E&P, is expected to be at an average of 20,000 barrels per day. This was contained in a statement by the NNPCL Chief Corporate Communications Officer, Olufemi Shuneye. Speaking on the development, the NNPCL Group Chief Executive Officer, Meleke Awi, described the commencement of oil production at the Madu Field as a significant milestone that will contribute to the larger goal of meeting the production required to drive revenue growth and boost the nation's economy. Still to come is politics news on Biscon Television. Stay tuned.
This is Biscon Politics. The People's Democratic Party (PDP) has resolved to elect a new national chairman in August 2024. This announcement follows the 98th National Executive Committee meeting held in Abuja, at which party stakeholders decided to extend Demagun's tenure as the party's national chairman. Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed, who serves as the chairman of the PDP's Governors Forum, shared this information with newsmen during a press briefing held in Abuja. Mohammed emphasized that the smooth execution of the party's name gathering demonstrated the absence of any disagreement or hostility within the leadership. In his remark, the acting national chairman Damagun said that the leadership of the party was not a do-or-die affair. Debo Ologunagba then announced the communique at the conclusion of the meeting, emphasizing that the NEC had instructed all organs, leaders, stakeholders, and members of the PDP to unite, set aside their disagreements, collaborate, and restore the PDP to power. He mentioned that the NEC had reviewed and endorsed the nationwide timetable for the party's congresses. The All Progressives Congress (APC) has many unresolved issues across the state chapters in the Southeast and South-South zones. Consequently, the Reconciliation Committee, recently established by the National Working Committee (NWC) of the All Progressives Congress (APC), is poised to face formidable challenges in achieving its objectives. Newsmen gathered that the APC is confronted with numerous obstacles within the Southeast and South-South regions. The states cited are Imo, Enugu, Ebonyi, Akwa Ibom, Edo, Bayelsa, and Rivers states. To however deal with the complex problems that APC state chapters are facing, both grassroots members and national leadership need to work together. The party can only hope to overcome internal discord and prepare for future elections while taking genuine steps towards reconciliation and implementing proactive measures. That's all on Biscon Politics.
Welcome back. Now to foreign news. The U.S. House of Representatives has advanced a $95 billion legislative package that would provide aid to Ukraine, Israel, and the Indo-Pacific in a broad bipartisan vote, overcoming hardline Republican opposition that had held it up for months. Today's procedural vote, which passed 316 to 94, with more support from Democrats than the Republicans, who hold a narrow majority, advanced a package similar to a measure that passed the Democratic majority Senate in February. Democratic President Joe Biden, Democratic Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, top Senate Republican Mitch McConnell, and top House Democrat Hakeem Jeffries had been pushing for a House vote since then. Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson had held off in the face of opposition from a small but vocal segment of his party. In addition to the aid for allies, the package includes a provision to transfer frozen Russian assets to Ukraine, sanctions targeting Hamas and Iran, and to force China's ByteDance to sell social media platform TikTok or face a ban in the US. We're due for another short break, and when we return, we'll bring you sports news. Join us again. Hello, welcome to the Sport News. Last season's runner-up Enugu Rangers are up for a crutch fixture against fellow Nigeria Premier Football League giant Kano Pillars in the biggest round 64 game of this year's Federation Cup, while reigning champions Bendel Insurance begin their title defense against Ogun State-based Nigerian National League side Stormers FC. The draw for this year's tournament was conducted at the Nigeria Football Federation Secretariat in Abuja on Thursday, thanks to a first-half penalty by Osarenkohi Imade. Insurance beat Rangers 1-0 to end their 43-year wait for a domestic title at the Stephen Keshi Stadium, Asaba, last season. League champions Enyimba faced Warije FC from Bauchi, survivors of the national playoffs, while Shooting Stars have a date against another NNL side, Solution FC, with the second-tier clubs and other divisions dominating the men's draw. There will be room for upset in the round, which will also see the likes of struggling MPFL sides, aka United face Sinosho FC of Abakaliki, Sunshine Stars vs Jedo Academy of Sokoto, Plateau United against Ekiti United, just as Abia Warriors play Ilaji FC. Ogun State winners, Beyond Limits, will face National League 1 side Hamola FC, just as Lagos State champions Ikorodu City are drawn against Green Berets of Kaduna. In the women's round of 32 draw, cup holders Bayelsa Queens are up against Bright Future Queens, while last year's runner-up Rivers Angels will be up against Ekiti Queens. As the summer transfer window gears up for another frenzy, the name on many lips is that of Athletic Club Bilbao star Alex Berengua. The 28-year-old winger has found himself at the center of speculation with clubs like Wolverhampton Wanderers, Crystal Palace, and Brentford all vying for his signature. According to a report from Estado Deportivo, Berengua's impending contract expiration with Athletic Bilbao adds fuel to the fire, making him a coveted asset for numerous clubs seeking to bolster their squad for the upcoming season. While Bilbao have tabled a renewal offer, Berengua remains undecided, leaving the door open for potential suitors to make their moves. The Spanish player has featured 162 times for Athletic Club and has registered 27 goals and 19 assists. Berengua has been somewhat of a dependable utility player, having played on both wings, in midfield, and even as a fullback. However, the EPL match day 34 of 38 on Saturday are matches between Luton Town and Brentford at 1500 hours, Sheffield United and Burnley at 1500 hours, and lastly, Wolves and Arsenal at 1930 hours. And that's it for Biscon TV Sport News. Welcome back. Now to entertainment news. Nollywood actor Kanayo or Kanayo has expressed dismay at how actors are approaching YouTube content creation, urging them to reconsider their approach and prioritize long-term success in a video he shared on Instagram on Friday, April 19, 2024. Prioritizing a one-day shoot, which is rampant in the YouTube content creation economy, with greater payments, might be unstable and harmful to their health, Kanayo also pointed out in the video. The whole irony of one-day shoot is not sustainable, according to him. Some of them now make it so difficult for producers and tell you one-day shoot is 1 million to 1.5 million naira. He further added that a high-standing colleague who started this one-day shoot, unfortunately, is not in good health. This is watching Biscon Television News. The news continues shortly. Welcome back to Biscon Television News. Now to the major points of the news. On the national scene, Interior Minister tests electronic gate at Abuja Airport. ECOWAS allocates $25 million in 2024 to fight terrorism in Nigeria. Others. In business news, NNPCL partner begin oil production at OML 85, target 20,000 barrels per day. On the foreign scene, U.S. House advances $95 billion Ukraine-Israel package ahead of Saturday's vote. And in the weather sport, insurance begins tighter defense against storms ahead of 2024 Federation Cup. And that's the news on Biscon Television. Compiled and produced by Tomiloba Abalan. Now the last line. Avoid negative people at all costs. They are the greatest destroyers of self-confidence and self-esteem. I'm Stella Opara. Thank you for watching.
Decided that a Jew will be allowed to enter the Supreme Court. And even bringing in a Jew to the Supreme Court, the next day, it was reported in the papers that Woodrow Wilson had sent a bomb into the Supreme Court. Now, the Jew was white. But Lyndon Johnson felt that a black man needed to be in the Supreme Court. Then he decided on Thurgood Marshall. Thurgood Marshall had expanded the frontiers of opportunity for black people through arguing the case in 1954 of Brown versus Board of Education. And there are certain seismic changes that the Supreme Court can make in terms of how people see themselves, because that is what opened up the opportunities. But then when Lyndon Johnson became president, he wanted a black man in the Supreme Court, but he didn't know what to do because there was nobody in the Supreme Court that was about to retire. In the American Supreme Court, I think you stay until you drop. Now, gave him another assignment and then pushed the son of Tom Clark, who was a justice of the Supreme Court, made him Attorney General. And he played that psychological game because Tom Clark now had to ask himself, how will I be in the Supreme Court and my son is Attorney General? Automatically, he didn't have to be told. He decided to step down because he also wanted to see his son grow. And it was when he stepped down that an opportunity came, and then he pushed the name of Thurgood Marshall. If you read the stories of the debate that went on in Congress, just about affirming this man, and you see that if a president wants to do good, he can do good. He has enormous powers in his hands, but his heart must be in the right place. He must also have the right reflexes to understand integrity, to understand fairness, to understand equity. Power in the hands of a criminal can not only reinforce inequality, but endanger a whole society. Now, the process of making Thurgood Marshall member of the Supreme Court took a lot of effort. The president ran around in the middle of the night, blackmailed, let me use that expression, intimidated, harassed his friends until they came to the table. And finally, Thurgood Marshall, on the 2nd of September 1967, was sworn in. And in fact, the president, it was very interesting that Senator Hugo, who actually swore him in, was a former member of the KKK. The point I'm making, it didn't change much, but psychologically. So, for example, when people criticize the Supreme Court, you also understand that sometimes, like the saying goes, don't throw a stone in the market until you are sure that your mother didn't go to the market that day. And by the way, today, the 3 years since my mother died, I'm celebrating the anniversary of her death. May her soul rest in peace. But I'm making the point, if I had Femi Falana in the Supreme Court of Nigeria, I can go to sleep. If I have Olisa Agbakoba in the Supreme Court of Nigeria, I can go to sleep. If I have Michael Zokome in the Supreme Court of Nigeria, I can go to... There are certain people that you know that their presence may not solve the problem, but it creates a sense of affirmation. Today, women in Nigeria are asking for a place. And by the way, I've always supported that. I don't think women should be asking for 30%. They should be asking for 50%. But let me tell you, don't clap yet. My conclusions are different from your own. If you are going to give women 50%, and please give them 50%. But they will not be Yoruba women. They will not be Igbo women. They will not be Hausa women. They will not be Fulani women. They will be women from people like us who are not even anywhere in the Constitution. Let them be women. But we can't, because otherwise, what you do is you just continue to reinforce inequality. A system must be so fair that it understands that nobody who is a citizen is on an excursion. Every citizen has a right. So finally, I think that the president of Nigeria must because all these executive orders are meant to correct wrongs. There must be an executive order or an amendment of the Constitution that defines what is the status, the religious status of the Nigerian state, and who has the right and the power to take life without a process. We cannot have a country where somebody comes in the name of whatever may be your motivation. A woman cannot say that I gave birth to this child, I carried her in my womb, therefore I'm going to kill her, even if she does, because she's exercising what she thinks is right. The system will tell her, you may have carried her in your womb, but you have no right over her life. A country where anybody can just wake up and say, you are accused of blasphemy, you are accused of... We're not in a theocracy, we're in a democracy. There must therefore be sanctions and punishment. Because somebody goes and burns my church or burns a mosque, what are the consequences? Over 40 years now, we've been going back to rebuild our churches whenever they are burned. The Nigerian state doesn't care. There must be an order that holds a governor accountable, that holds those to finding criminals who are defiling religion, who are killing people in the name of religion. They have no right to kill even their own people. So for me, these are some of the fundamental issues. The Constitution is very clear. The Constitution is very clear about the boundaries of religion. But we have a country where right now, as I'm talking to you, there are many federal universities where there are no churches, there are no mosques. What are the reasons? Many universities, land has been provided for the building of churches. But vice chancellors, chairmen of governing councils are turning a blind eye. I therefore demand that the president of Nigeria, by executive order, must say that every church, every worship, every system, every federal institution, whether it's medical, whether it is educational, must reflect what Nigeria reflects. Even if there are 2 Christians or 2 Muslims, a place must be provided for them. And I want to make this appeal. I don't know how else to make it, because there are universities that are now, the universities in Nigeria, under you, Mr. President, your good friend was Vice Chancellor in Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. But now, universities have been so provincialized that the universities are now literally mere ethnic clubs, where you cannot, the idea that Professor Philip Okonkwo can be Vice Chancellor in Ibadan, even if he's the most well-connected, is unthinkable. The fact that Afe Babalola, who has sold everything to build a university, to make him Vice Chancellor of either Usman Danfodio or University of Nigeria Nsukka, is unthinkable. Because like joke, we have come to a point in Nigeria where the federal government is spending money consolidating prejudices, ethnicity, and deepening the cleavages of local classes. The result, of course, is that we cannot be a people. So when Nigerians talk about ethnicity and so on, it is because the government has not done enough to enforce that. Because if you insist that the vice chancellors because the impression that governments create is that we built this university for this community. So you go to many universities, as I said, the governors, even in state universities, the governors take pride in ensuring that only our son. And that is why the universities have become so convoluted in Nigeria. Every day strike, every day strike. Because people who are holding the reins of power, many of them are not eminently necessarily qualified. They are just qualified by virtue of religion, or they are qualified by ethnicity. So I close by saying Nigeria needs to grow, Nigeria needs to develop, Nigeria needs to democratize. But that it is important that to make Nigerians treasure democracy, to make Nigerians feel confident about democracy, we must appreciate that the democratization of development, that is that the federal government must make sure that it says it has a map that tells where citizens are. Because if you don't democratize development, you cannot develop democracy. So my conclusion is that the democratization of development leads to the development of democracy. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Of course, he has not disappointed us in any way. Those of us who have been following the trajectory, his antecedents, and what have you, he has not disappointed in any way. In fact, he has reinforced the statement he made just about 2 weeks ago about not having churches in some universities. I believe that statement was made by you about a week or two ago. Now we have eminent juries and political icons in the House to discuss the issue raised by our own Bishop Matthew. Of course, because our time is fast spent, our Papa, Chief Obasanjo, will speak last, and when he speaks, nobody speaks again here. To that extent, we will now call on our in-house panelists, and there are quite a number of them here, 6 of them. Because our time is fast spent, we are going to allot to you 3 minutes. 3 minutes to discuss the paper, so that the audience will have at least the opportunity to ask 3 questions. That is, the question will be distributed 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. So that we'll save time, so that we can go and prepare for our lunch and tonight's dinner party. Now, in presenting his paper, which in the need to democratize development, because we can democratize our polity, Bishop Kukah touched on a number of issues. He made reference to the American Constitution and the inspiration the Americans had in bringing about their constitution, ideological, historical, and the rest. But he concluded that our own constitution has no inspiration. It was a kind of ad hoc arrangement. Just gather for and something to go and put up to him. And to him, those who found themselves in the Constitutional Assembly, saw it as a means to an end. So, without wasting your time, I will start with our own Femi Falana, Senate of Nigeria, who will speak to us on the issue raised, especially on the issue of corruption. For 3 minutes, Mr. Falana, please.
Thank you very much. Number one, let me congratulate Area Feba Balola SN for bringing us together on this occasion. and to assure Bishop Kuka that the ugly past is not behind us. My Lord Bishop, I need his attention. My Lord Bishop, I'm saying that the ugly past is not behind us at all. Because today, the level of corruption in Nigeria has assumed a very dangerous dimension. We have a situation where highly placed public officers steal money meant for building hospitals, and people are dying on our roads. They steal money meant for ecology, to fight erosion, to deforest certain part of the country. So when a country gets to that stage, corruption is now a crime against humanity. And for the new government, the president must show leadership. Happily, the wife of the president said recently in Lagos, my family will have no problem with your money because we have made enough money. Therefore, I'm urging the president to lead an anti-corruption crusade so that this country, the largest concentration of black people on earth, can take its rightful place in the Committee of Nations. Right now, we are in trouble as a people. There is somebody here who was our president. If you were accused of corruption and your case was before the EFCC or the ICPC, you will not be appointed to a position of authority. We must go back to that era. Some of those who are going in and out of the villa are standing trial for looting the treasury of this country. So wrong signals must not be sent to our people and the international community. My Lord Bishop, and I tell you this all the time, don't agonize but organize, my Lord. If you know a university where there is a mosque and churches are not allowed, please go to court. It is discriminatory, it is illegal, and the court will come in. The other one on women, there is a judgment of the Federal High Court which is valid and subsisting, that women shall be given 35% appointment in all government institutions. The judgment is not being complied with. We hope the new government will look at this. The final one, again, my Lord, if anybody is killed in this country, either by armed robbers, kidnappers, or other criminal gangs, you can sue the government to prosecute the criminal elements, and if you cannot find them, you can sue the government to pay compensation to the family. A young boy was killed in Ghana through drowning. The boy was drowned, and we approached the ECOWAS court, and the court ordered that $250,000 be paid to the parent, not because the government of Ghana was guilty, but the court felt the government of Ghana did not punish those who were responsible for the drowning. Thank you very much.
We are seriously under pressure here. We have to speed up. And I want to appeal to us, the panelists, to keep to time. Thank you so much once again, Mr. Femi Falana. Now we go to the political issue raised by Bishop Kuka. And I'm happy we have the Deputy Vice Chancellor in the house. Now, sir, Nigeria is a country where some of our compatriots think what they do not know does not exist. To them, they know everything under the sun. We've had all sorts of experimentations. And Bishop Coker spoke about the inspirations which the American had, and we don't have any. Can you say one or two things on that, my brother Prof, and especially on the issue he raised? And please keep to time, 3 minutes. Give him the mic.
Thank you very much. I want to first of all say a big thank you to Bishop Kuka for the very compelling and powerful lecture. I'm a professor of international law, so I always like to ask, where does Nigeria stand in the League of Nations? The 2023 Global Rule of Law Index ranks Nigeria as 118 out of 140 countries in terms of rule of law, which is dangerously low. And one of the key factors is what is described as lack of constitutional legitimacy. Now, constitutional legitimacy is simply a question of how many Nigerians believe that the Constitution represents their will. The first line in every constitution says, "We the people." We the people. How many Nigerians believe that the 99 Constitution represents their wish? The answer is but a few. Constitutional legitimacy is about two things: the process through which the Constitution came to being in the first place, and the product itself. Process and product. The 99 Constitution was put together in 155 days by the Honorable Justice Nigitobi Committee. Of course, we understand that the exigencies of 1999, we all wanted to welcome democracy, may have led us to say, well, autochthony, homegrown constitution may not be our priority. But if the 99 Constitution were to be standing in front of us today as a human being, it is a human being that has gone through 50 stitches. It is not healthy. The 99 Constitution is a badly flawed document that does not represent the wish of the people. And I think if we really want to make progress as a country, we need to listen carefully to what Ààrẹ Babalola has been saying for years: the need to restructure, the need to revisit the badly flawed document called the 99 Constitution, the need to look at what other countries are doing. I'll end with an example of Kenya. Kenya had its election recently. Before the president was sworn in, the case was concluded. And everyone is praising them. How did they achieve this? That is thanks to the 2010 referendum, which led to an homegrown constitution. I think the Nigerian people deserve an homegrown constitution that represents their wishes. Thank you very much.
The DVC, thank you so much. Now, Bishop Kuka spoke about the need for us to democratize development across the country. He drew our attention to the fact that where he came from, the area of his origin, has no single federal infrastructure. And we are talking about democratization. According to him, that goes so far to buttress the postulation of Confucius, the great Greek, who said every question has more than one answer. To Bishop Kuka, democratization without development is no democracy. To Mr. Falana, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, until the leader leads by example, we cannot make headway. But he believes that everything must resort to court rule. If you ask me, there will be so many responses, so many answers to those issues. Not many people will buy the idea postulated by Bishop Cooper when he was speaking about women, gender, and their demands of 35.5%. You know, we had in this country a president, I'm not mentioning anybody's name, who was a workaholic. He lives by example. He was president. When he gives you assignment, he will supervise what you are doing. We've had another president who doesn't supervise. They call one a dictator, and they call one an idle president. I leave it at that. So the issue of women gender, which Bishop Kua alluded to, may I call on Mrs. Auma, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Of recent, the women are practically taking over the legal profession.
Thank you very much.
Of recent, your compatriots in the skate have taken over the legal profession. As a life bencher, I know as a fact that 65 to 67% of those who are calling to the bar are females.
Yes.
Now, speak to that against the background of the fact that practically all the Ministry of Justice in Nigeria today have been taken over by female lawyers. In this region, Southwest, 4 of our CJs are women. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Let me also congratulate Daddy on this auspicious occasion, and I pray for long life, and that those things you are still wishing to achieve, God will give you the grace to achieve them. Let me go into that. You have just brought out the judiciary alone, which appears to be doing well for women. And the statistics are there. In the Federal High Court, the Supreme Court, look at the percentage of women at the Supreme Court. Very low. Since the inception of the Supreme Court, only 8 women have risen to the Supreme Court, and only 1 had risen to be the Chief Justice of Nigeria. At the Court of Appeal, we've had 2 women in a row become the president of the Court of Appeal. At the state levels, well, very well. But if you look at the totality of the percentage, it is still very, very slow. It's very low. Because at the Federal High Court, you have only 26% of the judges as women. At the NICN, you have only to about 25. But summing it all, that is only the judiciary that can favor women. Maybe because women find the work of the judiciary easier. But come to core legal practice, how many women have risen to the top of the profession? Out of 73 senior advocates of Nigeria, only 33 are women. And many of these women are those in the academia, not in the core legal practice. But coming to the constitutional development of Nigeria, as the keynote speaker has said, women have not been treated fairly at all since the inception of democracy in Nigeria. And we have had cause to speak out, to cry, to present bills, to organize ourselves. But it has been from one poor state to a poorer state. Look at the present National Assembly. At the last National Assembly, there are about 10 at the Senate out of 109 senators. Now, as I speak, there are only 3 women at the Senate of Nigeria. At the House of Representatives, there are only 10 or 11 women out of 360 people there. So how have we fared when the Constitution of Nigeria guarantees equality in discrimination and gives equal treatment to men and women, and that we should not discriminate on account of sex? So what is the problem? The 5 bills that were presented to the National Assembly last year were all rejected. These were called gender bills. They were all rejected because we had the overpopulation of men at the National Assembly. One of the bills said, if I marry a Nigerian, if a foreigner married a Nigerian man, the man automatically may apply to naturalize. But if a foreigner marries a Nigerian woman, it is not possible for that man to naturalize. And we've been asking, and there's a court judgment on the 35% affirmation. But in all our governments, nothing has been done.
Thank you so
But
much.
let me give an example of Kwara State and Kogi State. In Kwara State, as I speak, there's a law on the affirmative action that every appointment in government of Kwara State must be filled by at least 33% of gender, male or female, and he backed it up with a law. In Kogi State, although there is no law, but what is currently happening is that the vice chairman of every local government in the 21 local government areas of Kogi State are women. The SSG is women, is a woman, the head of service is a woman, and there is a systemic agenda to mainstream women into the governance. And so these people are growing. Can we replicate this in all governments of Nigeria and make women to grow?
Our time is far gone. Thank you. It's nice hearing that. It's nice hearing that, getting that information through you, that Kwara State has gone ahead other states. I hope the other states are taking note of that. Now, Chief Charles Idosewa, Senator of Nigeria. Bishop Kuka spoke of the need to have men of integrity by his own estimation, the likes of Femfala and SAN and the likes of Agbakuba that should be on the Supreme Court. Against the backdrop of the fact, which you know very well, that over the years, attempts have been made to inject people from the bar to the apex court without trying to praise our Papa, former President Olusegun Obasanjo. I am aware, by virtue of my position, that he made that attempt, but he did not see the light of the day. What is your contribution on this? On that, Bishop Kuka said there is a need. He said, among other things, that judiciary is in crisis. I now prefer some solutions that people will have confidence, by his own estimation, that people will develop confidence in the judiciary once they start having men like Femi Falana or Agbakuba. You heard him say that. Now, again, the background of the fact that MBA and, in fact, our former president made attempts to inject people from the bar, from outside the mainstream. What is your contribution to that?
Well, I have read that question a few times. I think we've gotten it wrong because we have allowed the principles of appointment, judicial appointment, to be taken away from the constitutional principle of appointment to promotions. That is what it is now. If you read the words of the Constitution talks about appointment. Appointment. Somebody who's 10 years old becomes a High Court judge upon appointment. Somebody who's 15 years old goes to the Supreme Court upon appointment. I think 12 years for the Court of Appeal. But somehow, in the works, and the institution was created, they now brought other criteria for appointment of judges. So a judge who now wants to go to the Court of Appeal is waiting to be promoted from the High Court to the Court of Appeal. A judge wants to go to the Supreme Court is waiting to be promoted from the Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court. That is not what the Constitution provided. Otherwise, why shouldn't a brilliant Attorney General go to the Supreme Court, just like Justice Namani did? Why wouldn't a brilliant professor go to the Supreme Court, like Brandeis did?
Yeah, yes, like they. You know, so when they created those other criteria, in fact, the feeling is not that if you're a legal practitioner, you have no place in the Supreme Court. I remember a few years ago when I was part of the NBA screening committee to screen some legal practitioners for appointment in the Supreme Court. I think that was also, the way that was done was also wrong, in the sense that people were asked to apply to be appointed in the Supreme Court. I refused to apply. You don't apply to be appointed in the Supreme Court. So guess what happened? All sorts of applications came.
You get nominated.
Oh, hold on. A deputy chief registrar, who is not yet a high court judge, was applying to be appointed in the Supreme Court. And somebody who works in the bank, because he has 15 years at the bank, was applying to be appointed in the Supreme Court. You know, so all sorts of, it became an affair for all comers. But the truth is this. The truth is this. Let us keep fidelity with the words of the Constitution that says the President appoints a justice of the Supreme Court upon a recommendation of the NJC. But the way it is now, we've turned it on its head. If the NJC doesn't recommend, you do not appoint. So where is the power of appointment when a recommendation can override it? But even though, then it's nowhere. So we keep getting people with bad habits from the magistracy up to the Supreme Court. I'm not calling any names, I've not said anything. But my point is that if you have somebody who had already acquired bad habits in the magistracy, promoted to the High Court, compounded the bad habits, promoted to the Court of Appeal, they ultimately get to the Supreme Court. What magic are you looking for when the person gets to the Supreme Court? Is he going to be his epiphany in the Supreme Court to say, oh, I'm not a good judge because I've been promoted, I'm not in the Supreme Court? It doesn't work like that.
Thank you so much, Fedeso, as soon as of Nigeria. The law remains as it is. The presidency has the power to appoint justices of the Court of Appeal and Supreme Court. The governorcy has the power to appoint judges of the state high court. But everything depends on political will. Thank you so much. And the last issue brought by Bishop Kuka, which is going to be addressed by our own President of the Court of Appeal, Ekiti State, Justice Oye Bodunde, is the social issue, the needs for social justice. And he made reference to discrimination. Can you say one or two on that? Because our host of today, our celebrant, has written so much on that. For those of us who have been following Reverend Wala's writings on the pages of newspapers, he had over the years spoken about social justice. Can we hear from you?
Thank you very much, my silky brother and moderator. And I'm standing on all existing protocols because of time. I really did not know why I was brought up to the podium, but I want to say that I trust that it must have been the celebrant's decision, because on one or two occasions, as a father and a daughter, we have had one or two discussions about using law as social engineering or social justice, like you said. From example of Baba, we can say that he has used law not only as a legal practitioner, but he has used law in education, in medicine, in business, and the examples abound. For me personally, law must have a social face. And one of the areas that it can have a social face without being a judge in my own case is the area that my learned sister still talked about. I would say that Ekiti has done very well. There was a time in this state when I used to be the only female judge, when the likes of
Honorable Justice Omoleye, Justice Fasomi were appointed as judges of the Court of Appeal. And then for 14 years, there was a coma in appointments of women as judges. And then between last year and now, we now have 3 female judges, 2 in the High Court. I was appointed from the High Court to pioneer the newly created Customary Court of Appeal, and I have another female judge. So Ekiti is not doing badly. However, like I know my father, the celebrant, who wants me to be courageous today to talk about, there is an issue, an area where we can use law and social justice, and that is the area of the access to justice and the devices, if I want to say, that is still linked to some of our cultural and traditional practices. What do I mean? Like in the area of female genital mutilation, for instance, and widowhood practices. This is Ekiti. We have done very well with other aspects of gender-based violence. But the issue of female genital mutilation, the issue of our widowhood practices needs to be visited. And these are things that are not of common law nature. They are rooted in our practices. So it is an opportunity to appeal to our royal fathers. Kábíyèsí Sirs, Adé apẹ́ lórí yín sà o, bàtà apẹ́ lẹ́sẹ̀. It is an area that they can come in to help stakeholders in the administration of justice to look at. Female genital mutilation is a no-no in Ekiti State.
Thank you, my Lord. As we are rounding up, I've been told that my brother said, Fefalano, ask an information to give. Just information, 1 minute.
Mr. Chairman, because we are talking of discrimination against women, in Lagos now, men are complaining of reverse discrimination. Out of 69 judges in Lagos, High Court judges, only 24 are men, 45 are women. Wait. Out of 152 magistrates, 44 are men, 108 are women.
Because this is very important topic. And I want to thank Bishop Uka for the points he made on this subject, constitutionalism and democracy. Well, he said he wants to beg you to keep quiet. Can I beg you? You see, you don't have to beg them. I can beg them. Thank you very much for keeping quiet. Bishop Kuka made very cogent and valid points. Constitutionalism, he said there's no perfect constitution. Democracy, it is a journey, it's not a destination. But constitutionalism, no matter what constitution you have, and democracy, no matter the system that you employ in your democratic way of life, if you do not have good governance, which must be the outcome of your constitutionalism and your democracy, then you are not going anywhere. And he made the point too, that then to get good governance, it will depend on those who are operating your constitution and who are managing your democracy. And that is very important. The people who are operationalizing your constitution and your democracy. And the point in Nigeria, which I have seen, which I can attest to, is most of the people who are supposed to be operationalizing or managing and seeing the constitution and democracy move forward, they are actually the ones who undermine constitution and democracy. Let me give an example here. All elected people by our constitution, their emolument is supposed to be fixed by revenue mobilization and commission. But our lawmakers set that aside and they make law and put any emolument for themselves. Even if that is constitutional, it is not moral. And of course, it is neither constitutional nor moral. Now, when you have a situation like that, then what do you say of constitution, which is breached by those who are supposed to be guardians of constitution and democracy? That is one. The thing again that is, to me is very important is there are so many other aspects of our constitution that are actually absolutely ignored. Take federal character. We have Federal Character Commission. I don't know if Federal Character Commission has come out to find anybody guilty of not really keeping federal character. Have they all kept federal character? Of course, no. Of course, no. Now, the point is that if you leave the Constitution breached, then, of course, you know what happens next. Bishop Kuka talked a lot about the American Constitution. And the first point about American Constitution is talk about every person being born equal. Not even every citizen. Every person who lives in America, whether you are a citizen or not, you are supposed to be enjoying the constitutional rights of America. But with us, the constitution is breached. We have no democracy that delivers. Your democracy must deliver the dividend of democracy. And if your democracy does not deliver the dividend of democracy, then it becomes anything goes. Anything goes for anybody. So I believe that constitutionalism, democracy must lead to good governance, and good governance must deliver for the welfare and the well-being of the people. That is what the Constitution, democracy, and all the other things are meant to achieve. But this I will also say, leadership at all levels requires certain things. Character, understanding, knowledge, sacrifice. And if these are not there, we are deceiving ourselves. No matter what constitution we have, no matter what sort of democracy we practice, all these must lead to one thing and one thing only: the welfare, the well-being, the prosperity, the security of the people. And if we cannot manage diversity, which we seem not to be able to manage, it doesn't matter what you talk about constitution, it doesn't matter what you talk about democracy. In fact, like one young man said to me, he said, "Now democracy will go chop." If he has nothing to eat, if he has no job, if he has no security, and you are telling him of democracy, the answer you will get is that, "Now democracy man go chop." Democracy doesn't mean anything to any man who is hungry. Democracy doesn't mean anything to any man whose life is in danger. Democracy does not mean anything to any man whose property is being destroyed. Democracy, constitutionalism, democracy, good governance must lead to the welfare and well-being of all the people, particularly the common people.
This song is dedicated to our Papa, Are Afe Babalola. He is the blessing to the whole nation and to the world at large. So please sit back and enjoy.
stand on the existing protocol. But because of the lack of time, I will not want to go into the detail of this book review. We'll give the specific that are most important. One of the things that I recognize this today is that while the biological fathers, the biological children of our daddy was recognized, some of us that are the adopted sons and daughters were not recognized. Are is a father to all of us. It's a great privilege for me to review this book today, the book titled The Diamond at the Bar, which is a celebration of the life and times of our father and 60 years as a lawyer in this country. I am delighted to stand here today to review this book. And without wasting more time, I want to go into the nitty-gritty and the ingredients in this book. The Diamond at the Bar is a 416-page book with 53 chapters. In terms of appearance and aesthetics, I must say that it is a well-produced book. As an author and publisher myself, I must commend the editors and publisher for this feat. The book is easy to read and well printed. The font used in printing the book is friendly to the eye, and one does not need to strain the eyes to read it. The starting point in my review is unique features of this book, which I don't want to waste time on it, because the book is here, you are going to see it. So I don't want to go into the aesthetics of this book to tell you what it contains. My learned brother, Professor Michael Sekume, authored the foreword to this book. And if you read the foreword, it's encompassing, very detailed in terms of what the book contains and the importance of this book. It's also to be noted that His Excellency Governor, also in chapter 3, we have the written by our leader in the bar, Shiwole Olanikweku, who is a commander of the Federal Republic. He reviews so many facts about our father here today, the celebrant, which are contained in chapter 3 of the book. You read it, you get all the details. Because of time, I will not be able to give you all the details as contained in this write-up. The unique things you are going to discover in the piece contributed by His Excellency Babatunde Fashola is in chapter 4. It contains the celebration of Are himself and his contribution to arbitration in Nigeria. What he stands for in the arbitration in Nigeria is a contribution given by Babatunde Fashola, SAN, former Governor Lagos State and former Minister of the Federal Republic. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, if you want to discover an intimate portrait of Are as a father and in the house and in the office, you should look no further. Read what Prince Lateef Fagbemi wrote in page 47 to 55 of the book. And then also you read what our Bishop Kuka also wrote, The Future of Constitutional Democracy in Nigeria, Imperative of a New Constitutional Order. This is the lecture we got today. Some of them are also contained in the book. Then there is also a contribution by Most Reverend Felix Femi Ajekaye. Is a chapter also in this book. When you get it, you read it. Then we have contribution for His Imperial Majesty Oba Adeyeye Enito Oguwusi, who also came here to display today for us in celebration of our father. Our royal host for today, the Ewi of Adekiti, Oba Rufus Adejube, is also very categorical in what he wrote about our father today. Is also contained in the book. The same sentiments he echoed also was stated by his Oba Dr. Adesanya Adejare, the Alaye Obalufun, Alayemo of Efun State. He also stated the role and the importance of this celebration in the life of our daddy today. Also, there are so many things written about the judiciary here. They are also contained in this book, particularly if you look at page 172 of the book. We have a contribution by His Lordship, Justice Ayodeji Daramola. They are also contained in this book. This book practically contains so many contributions by eminent jurists, eminent professors, and legal practitioners in this country. It's encompassed in this book. The like of Professor Zekome is also there. Our father in the profession, Chief Adeyebo Awomolo, also made a contribution. You see the contribution of people like Joseph Bodorin Daudu and Chief Akin Olijimi. Our father also in the profession, the former Minister of the Federal Republic. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, without wasting our time here, you will know that the review will not be complete if I fail to highlight the contributions of 4 Amazons, because we are talking of women power today. We discuss about women power. There are contributions by women here. My senior, Mrs. Funke Adekoya, SAN, and also Yeye Asiwaju Victoria Awomolo. Ladies make very good contributions in this book that we are going to launch today. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, if I may allow also today, we need to acknowledge one thing here today, that our father we are talking about today, which has all these writings, all these commentaries, all these praises today we are celebrating, that is a daddy to all of us. I will call him the Daddy General of the Federal Republic and the Commonwealth. Everything that he stands for in the society are encompassed here. People have been giving their own testimony. I also want to state here that I'm a beneficiary of his generosity. Anytime I come to visit him here, he will try to give me transport money. When I say, Daddy, I am loaded, I carry money, he says, you must receive your own. So I will gladly refer to him today as a father whose humility has humbled all of us. He is a father whose intellect has dwarfed all of us. His moral will moralize all of us. His generosity has brought us pure joy. He is an area father. He is a father without jurisdiction. He is a father at large. Our man we are celebrating today is a father without jurisdiction. This book is loaded. I recommend it for all of you, and I wish you happy reading. Thank you very much.
Your Excellencies, good afternoon, sirs. Our Royal Majesty is here. I greet all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here representing Dr. Taiwo Afolabi, who should have been here himself personally, but lost somebody yesterday morning, so he couldn't make this trip. So if you permit me, let me read his goodwill message before I now do the launching of the book. These are remarks of Dr. Taiwo Olayinka Afolabi, MON, CON, the chief launcher at the public representation of the Diamond at the Bar, a chronicle of lessons and values from the life of Are Afe Babalola. Your Excellencies, let me start by congratulating our father, the celebrant and the honoree of today, Are Afe Babalola, the Are Bamofin of Yoruba land, on this milestone anniversary of his call to the Bar of England and Wales. To attain 60 years at the Bar is a very standard landmark. When we recall that in public service, 60 years is the age of retirement, we can then better appreciate the event of today. It means, in effect, that anyone born in 1963, the same year that Are was called to the Bar, will be leaving the public service this year. In other words, Are Afe Babalola has been a lawyer for the whole of the life of many of our public servants. That is a huge achievement. We have all listened with rapt attention to Dr. Ogu James Onoja, son, our distinguished book reviewer. as the learned senior advocate of Nigeria, expertly provided us with a critical review of the book, The Diamond at the Bar, a chronicle of lessons and values from the life of Are Afe Babalola. I cannot but agree with Dr. Onoja that the list of the contributors represents the Hall of Fame in Nigeria. I don't think there's a name of any of the contributors that is not familiar to even the younger child in the country. From our father, Baba Olusegun Obasanjo, to Governor Abiodun Oyebanji, to KBSC, the Ooni of Ife, to KBSC, the Ewe of Ado, to KBSC, the Alaye of Efon Alaye, and then to my lords, Bishop Kuka and Bishop Ala Ajakaye, then to the doing of the legal profession, Asiwaju Wole Oladipekun, Asiwaju Adegboyega Owomolo, Chief Akin Olujimi, Chief J.B. Daudu, and others too numerous to mention. For all these giants of our country to come together to produce this monumental book in honor of Are is certainly a testimonial to Are's gigantic achievements. This is not my first time of visiting Abuad. I've come here at the instance of Are some years ago. However, I must admit that I was more than marveled at the tremendous changes that taken place between the last time I was here and what I'm witnessing here today. I could not believe my eyes at the giant structures that have since sprung up all over the campus. If my recollection is correct, the white rock which now houses Baba's offices was not there some years ago. There was also no Afe Babalola's multi-systems hospital when I came here the last time. There was also no Abode Industrial Park at the time. And now, in a twinkle of an eye, Are has waved the magic wand, and an African forest has been transformed into a city. I do not think I've come across any other institution, be it public or private, that is growing at such a supersonic speed. In his concluding remarks, Dr. Onoja-san said something which makes an impact on me. He said that the book we are unveiling today is a book that documents the human and leadership principles Are Afe Babalola has lived his life by, as recorded by selected illustrious people who have been privileged to interact with him. That's a profound statement. It means, in effect, that anyone who aspires to be a legend and a giant in his profession must get a personal copy of this book. I believe that it is a book like this that we must encourage our children and students to be reading at this critical junction of our national history. The younger generation must understand that there is no shortcut to success. They must understand that it was not only Rome that was not built in a day. The impressive and prestigious Afe Babalola University was also not built overnight. It takes vision, tenacity, and hard work to become a success. Your Excellencies, it is the light of the foregoing that in launching this book, I will want to donate copies of the book to Abbott Library, as well as the Library of University of Lagos, where I obtained my LLB degree, the Library of Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, where I was given my first honorary doctorate degree, the Library of Nigerian Law School, where I was called to the bar, and other universities across the country. It is my hope that the book will become a recommended reading text in all our institutions of higher learning. I believe that this is one of the best ways to ensure that the lessons from the life of our Are Afe Babalola become a national ethic. I thank you for listening, and I congratulate our Are Afe Babalola on this lifetime achievement. So in launching this book, I've been directed to launch some copies of this book with 10 million naira. Thank you very much.
with the unveiling of the book, may I very quickly invite the representative of First Bank, the representative of Union Bank, Fidelity Bank.
And also find out from whoever is unlucky to get a copy from me. But I'm going to call them to make sure they have read the book. I'm going to take, since I said I wasn't going to announce anyway. No. I'll talk to my friend. My friends are there. Just be sure I'm going to buy copies handsomely.
I want to stand on existing protocol. I am going to launch the book on behalf of some of my friends who are also Baba's children. Together, we'll put together $500,000. Myself and those friends, I won't list them now. But we'll put together $500,000 and launch it.
Last son, a parent of the university, on behalf of myself, my wife, and the entire members of my organization, Top Fingers Investment Limited, Nigeria and China, we are going to launch 10 of the books with 5 million naira.
I'd like to speak on behalf of Crown Hospital and Oroki Hospital, and we are putting down a sum of $500,000 naira.
And on behalf of the society, I, Engineer Margaret Oguntala, the Deputy President-elect, hereby launch the book. We'll take 5 books for 500,000 naira.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think we've done justice to protocol today. So I won't bore us with protocol other than to especially appreciate everyone who had come here this afternoon, in fact since this morning, to celebrate not just the great icon, but the greatest icon of all time in this legal profession as far as this country is concerned. And I think it is important that I have the opportunity to do this at this point in time on behalf of the Nigerian Bar Association. I must especially appreciate and celebrate our father, our mentor, our revered leader, our pathfinder, Ààrẹ Afe Babalola, CON, and several titles to follow, who is celebrating the 60th anniversary of his call to the bar. It is not a regular celebration. And with my very little years at the bar, I have not witnessed this kind of celebration. And I'm talking about the 60th anniversary being celebrated by any, not that people have not clocked 60 at the bar, but very, very few can stand tall in good health, graciously celebrating 60 at the bar, and with all grace that God has endowed him or her with. But Baba Afe Babalola is an exception, and this is indeed an auspicious occasion, because we are all here as witnesses to what God has done in the life of our Baba. And that is why we must, as the Bar Association, join others to celebrate our Baba. I am here as the General Secretary of the Nigerian Bar Association, representing the Nigerian Bar Association. and of course, the President of Nigerian Bar Association, who unfortunately is unavoidably absent today. On the 27th page of the brochure, the goodwill of the President of Nigerian Bar Association is in the brochure. However, it is important that I read about 2 or 3 paragraphs, because I don't want to waste too much time, of what the President's message is to Baba Are Afe Babalola. Paragraph 2 of the message reads thus: Are Afe Babalola is a man of many parts, a legal practitioner par excellence, a farmer, economist, philanthropist, educationist, a trailblazer, and so much more. The highly decorated legal icon has in his 60 years at the bar a worthy elder, illustrious, and exemplary member at that, contributed immensely to the development of our jurisprudence in various areas of law. Are has also shaped countless legal minds who passed through his law firm or crossed paths with him over the years, many of whom have risen to become judges, senior advocates of Nigeria, and very successful legal practitioners in public and private sectors. We also saw the very bright legal minds I found out earlier representing the Emmanuel Chambers. Among them was a Minister of Justice, former Minister of Justice. A couple of them were Attorney Generals of various states. We had judges among them. This is what Emmanuel Chambers represents. And that is what Are Afe Babalola represents. He has produced, more than any firm in Nigeria, the highest number of senior advocates of Nigeria. I think we should do better than that. He deserves a better round of applause. He has also produced, more than any firm in Nigeria, judges of various courts in Nigeria. And it is on this note, because of time that we do not have at our disposal, that I would like to read the second to the last paragraph of the President's goodwill. What is perhaps the most outstanding of all the laudable achievements is the massive, deliberate, and conscious investment in all the sectors of our national life. As a farmer, Baba was the recipient of the 2014 African Man of the Year for Food Security Award. He is the highest private investor in Ekiti State. With the establishment of one of the fastest growing and top-rated private universities on the African continent, whose graduates are recognized and sought after across the world, Are affirms his belief in the future of this country and has permanently etched his name in gold. Are Afe Babalola is a name that we all are familiar with, but notwithstanding, it is important that I mention that I, by virtue of my opportunity to head what we called in Ife at that time, and I believe it's still in existence, Equity Chambers, met Baba first time in my life in 1997 as a student of Babalola University. And since then, he has been a great mentor. Since then, I've followed his travesty and of course trajectories in the legal profession. And that is why, to the glory of God, when I was contested to become General Secretary, I visited Baba to tell him I was going to run for General Secretary. And Baba gave me assurance that I will not only win, but he will support my election handsomely. Unfortunately, I didn't go back for that support. But to the glory of God, Baba, thank you so much for the encouragement. And by the grace of God, by your encouragement, I'm now the General Secretary of Nigerian Bar Association. We are all here to celebrate you. We will continue to celebrate you. We thank God for His grace in your life. Thank God for His glory over your life. And by the grace of God, you will still be here to do more and give us most proud moment. Thank you very much.
You can't go without announcing a donation.
By virtue of the fact that I am the General Secretary of Nigeria,